did you know that I can see you?
Hey, grace and peace, everybody. You did not see the thumbnail. You did not see the title because you know what? We jumping in and doing something different tonight. So at 7:30-ish, I have a good brother. His name is Antonio. He's been a commenter on the channel for some time. And he's going to come on and give his testimony. And the reason of importance for that is because his story very much parallels the story of Kenneth Copeland. Who's Kenneth Copeland, Jason? Thank you for asking. Kenneth Copeland, Woody from the YSL trial. So Antonio is going to come on tonight and just kind of tell his story, because some time ago in a video we were discussing what Kenneth Copeland should do now that once he got off the witness stand, how should he move. And me and Antonio started talking about just some ways that Kenneth Copeland can get out of the street life, if you will, get off of the street life. And so so tonight we're going to talk with Antonio, but we also have a lot of other great stuff we're going to be talking about. We got a lot of busy stuff to talk about. And I got in here, I was just about to sit down, I was checking the traps, making sure everything went good. And we have a surprise from Dalton, Illinois. So this one is not actually on my schedule at all to talk about. This is actually breaking news, if you will. So shout out to Slow. You're going to get some of the breaking news. So Tiffany Henyard did another press conference. And I watched about 3 minutes of it. I said, oh, no. It's a dumpster fire, man. It is already a dumpster fire. So shout out to, I think this is WGN up in Chicago. Who is this real quick? No, shout out to them for doing, yeah, it is WGN. Oh, NBC Chicago. Sorry about that. Shout out to NBC Chicago. So this one is interesting because she comes right out the gate and says some stuff that I think contradicts a lot of the stuff. Hey, shout out to all lawyers. If you're a lawyer, look, I'm just telling y'all, look, a lawyer will just take your money. I'm sorry. I ain't trying to be mad at you. Everybody got to make their bread. How are they going to make their bread? But I think from the little bit that I heard, an attorney should have told her, you're going to have to, you gambling on the write-in ballot. But I do think she's up to something, and I'm going to talk about that as well. So let's bring this in because it's about 20 minutes. So we're going to watch it together, and we're going to comment. Let's go. Grace and peace, everybody. Thank y'all so much for tapping in. Oh, real quick, make sure you hit that like button if you don't mind, because your boy is trying to get 50,000 subscribers before I turn 51 in April. So let's see if we can make it happen. No, this is something different. This is a little extra. This is extra law and above. This is going above and beyond, giving y'all more value than what y'all pay for. Okay. Actually, I just saw this and I said, oh, I want to talk about it. So I know I'm early. I just want to get this out of the way. Let's see what we got. Let's go. Yo, somebody said it. Yo, that would be crazy to have. I bet you the views ratings will go up. Okay, let's get this done, Jason. Let's go.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming and thank you for waiting. I called this press conference just to talk about the injustice done on December 3rd as it relates to Dalton, Riverdale, Harvey, Lansing, Markham, Homewood, Phoenix, Burnham, residents of Fulton Township. It saddens my heart to see such inhumane done to our seniors who stayed outside in the cold for hours waiting just for their right to vote. I stand today as their leader, as a mom, as a resident of Fulton Township, as someone that will not stand for injustice to anyone. I stand for voters' rights. We stand for voters' rights.
I just want to point out real quick, notice how she dropped the whole narrative that she was standing outside. That whole narrative has gone away now. She's not talking about her being outside anymore. I wonder why. Okay, never mind.
Today, you will hear from me, the attorneys. To my left is Matt Solomon. He's the lead attorney. To my right is Angela Lockett. And we also have Trustee Darlene Gray Evers and several other residents standing with us. Today, we are asking the courts to allow us to be heard. Today, we are asking to unmute our voices which was muted on December 3rd at the caucus.
Remember, she was just going to sue people. Remember, I'm going to sue them on Monday. I'm going in and sue them tomorrow. I'm going to sue tomorrow. Now she's begging the court to allow them to speak. You know why? Because the court has probably already said you don't actually have a case. And I'm going to put money down that these two attorneys have already told her that.
I do not like dictatorship. I do not like a hostile takeover. I did not like what happened that evening. Everyone was there. Everyone witnessed what happened. So today I'm asking for everyone to band together with their super mayor, Tiffany A. Henyard, and let's stand for what's right. Let's fix what happened on December 3rd. So I am going to allow for my attorney to speak because our lawsuit is filed. We filed it today. And I thank you for standing with me, Max Solomon. I thank you for being the voice of the people of Thornton Township, which we so desperately need. It's been a long time coming, and today is the time to stand for what's right. Every day is the time to stand for what's right. But thank you for standing with us in this dictatorship, which we're asking for democracy, because that's what we live in, right? But that's not what was portrayed on December 3rd. As you know, the committeemen basically did so many illegal things that evening, and that's what is recited in our lawsuit, and we will be heard in court. I will let you guys know when that happens, and I also was told that he don't even live in Thornton Township, so how can you partake in the process? What we was denied is the process.
And I've already talked about that. I'm sorry. As far as I know, Mr. Harris does in fact live in the township. But if the state says otherwise, again, I don't live in the township. I don't move like that. However, if the state says he doesn't live there, then that's what it is. But I think it's very interesting what she said. She don't even live in the township technically because she's being evicted.
Process to be heard, which is come in and exercise our right to vote for whoever we choose or chose that evening as a candidate. We did not get the opportunity to talk or put any nominees on the floor, not one person. And that's what I mean about a dictatorship. So I'm gonna allow for Max Solomon to speak, and he can answer any questions after everyone speaks. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna let him speak in a second. Listen to see if, well, first of all, she done got Keith Price to find a suit. So shout out to that. But listen to see if he says that she was actually qualified to be a nominee. Because again, the whole blocking people out and packing the stadium, okay, whatever. But was she actually qualified? It seems to be the problem. And it seems like she wants to be shoehorned onto the ballot, even though she wasn't actually qualified to be on the ballot. So it seems like all of this is a push to get herself onto the ballot on a roundabout way, using the court system, if you will, to get on the ballot rather than the due process that she's claiming that she wants. Let's see what she says, or what Max says.
Thank you, Supervisor. Good afternoon. My name is Max Solomon, Solomon. Today, at the request of the supervisor, a lawsuit was filed at the Circuit Court of Cook County, County Division. The lawsuit names Committeeman Napoleon B. Harris as a defendant, and it also names the Democrats of Thornton Township as a defendant. We're asking the courts to declare that the caucus that was held last Tuesday, December 3rd, is invalid. We're asking the courts to allow a do-over, and we're asking the courts for other relief as the court would decide. The facts are very clear, and if you need a copy of our lawsuit, please send an email that has already been provided. And again, we're standing with the supervisor on behalf of the people of Thornton Township. Let me be clear. This is not about the mayor. This is not about the supervisor. This is about the people of Thornton Township. And not only the people of Thornton Township. If what happened last Tuesday were to be allowed to stand, chances are it would happen in other townships. What happened last Tuesday was not fair, especially, and we named this and we mentioned this in our lawsuit, the rules that were adopted at that caucus. we believe they were in violation of the law, and we would have an opportunity before a county judge to be heard.
Okay. I just noticed something. I have not, besides the fact that Tiffany Henier mispronounces a lot of words, I've heard the attorney say that what happened actually was not legal. He says it's fair. I don't know if that's necessarily a court issue to determine something was fair as much as it legal. I'm waiting to see what is the actual problem.
That's all I have for now. I will yield the floor for Attorney Lockett or Mr.
All right, let's see. Okay.
Thank you. Just like to say that this has been an ongoing theme with the injustice and the illegal, what we would term illegal acts
she's illegal.
Our super mayor, as she loves to call herself. But in reality, she is a Black woman who is constantly being attacked by others. Now, be it because she's a woman or be it because she's African American, that we don't know. But what we know.
Okay. Race card. Everybody here gets free indulgences because they've already pulled out the race card and the gender card. So you already get free indulgences. I'll get those out to y'all as soon as possible.
So for sure is that it's unfair, it's unjust, and that we hope the courts will see it our way. Thank you.
Unfair and unjust does not mean that it's wrong. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you're a parent of more than one child, you've heard about things that were unfair and unjust, but they weren't wrong. I'm just saying. I don't know if I agree with that.
Okay, next we're gonna allow for Keith Price to speak, and then I will conclude.
Thank you, Mayor.
What does he got to say?
Good evening, everyone. I want to be firm in saying that the injustices that occurred started before the caucus. It started when they decided not to have a primary. That affected thousands of voters. The Thornton Township race usually does not bring out under 13,000 voters. To knock it down to a caucus is absurd. The night of the caucus stands by itself on its own merit. You all saw it, you witnessed it, you reported on it. They turned around and left hundreds out in the cold. We're just asking for justice to be served. This should not be tolerated anywhere. And really, they affected thousands of voters by even going the caucus route. I just want to thank you all, and I look for something promising out of the court system of Illinois.
All right, next we have Ms. Catherine Moore.
There were so many people lined up outside, and it was so cold. That's the only thing that I really took note of, because they wanted to vote. They took their time to come out. We had people out there that were on oxygen masks, pushing those chairs with the wheels on it. Just standing out there. We were out there at 4:45. When we got there, there were lines of seniors out there. If most people know seniors, they do not want to be out when it's dark. So they were there on time. They thought that they were going to vote. And I'm just hoping that the courts understand how serious this was for them to want to come out, and it was so cold. They just wanted to vote. And I saw that as such an injustice. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay, next we have DeMarcus.
I just think it's interesting. It's very interesting to me. And by the way, my guest, Antonio, has already popped in. Let me real quick say shout out to Antonio. How are you doing, brother? Grace and peace. You're muted, my friend.
What's going on? What's going on?
What's happening, man?
What's going on, dog? How you?
Good, man. We're going to finish up this video because I wanted to do a little mic check. So you're welcome to, if you want to add some commentary, brother, you're welcome to. I just wanted to bring this in. And we're going to give you a chance to tell your story. I wanted to warm up, and I saw this. I was like, oh, I want to do it before Antonio come on. But see, you're a good brother, because I said 7:15. Yeah. I looked up. I said, man, it's 7:14 and 32 seconds.
Prompt, man. Prompt. Brother. I don't play, man. Time is valuable, man.
For sure. Let's get done with this. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
My name is DeMarcus. What we seen December 3rd was a lot of dictatorship. I stand for the senior as well as the youth. If we allow this to happen now, this can cause a grave danger for any elected official for the future. So with that, we stand behind Super Mayor Tiffany A. Henier. with this cause. Thank you.
All right. I'm gonna conclude with this. If you want there, you can go on social media and you'll see everything that took place the night of December 3rd.
Really?
Just to walk you through a quick recap of what we all witnessed.
Okay, before we get started, everybody has seen the video I put up yesterday and other good content creators have put up showing that Tiffany Henyard was in there before the actual caucus began. Did you see that, Antonio? I'm sorry. You muted my brother.
Yeah, I seen
Okay.
it. I seen it. Yeah, I seen it sitting against the wall.
Right, and in the middle, just chilling.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to see what she says because I haven't seen this part. So I want to know what she gonna say. Is she gonna say she was outside freezing, or is she gonna? I want to see what she says, and I also want y'all to keep your eyes on the attorneys. I'm noticing that the attorneys are very close to people when they think they might say something wrong. Because Keith got up there, and brother over here on the right, he got real close to him, kind of like giving like little presents. Like, let me let you know, like, don't say anything stupid. Now look at my girl. She's staring at Tiffany like, don't you say nothing that you ain't supposed to say now. She giving that eye like your mom was giving you in church. Shout out. Let's see what they got.
We all got there around 4:30, 4:45 for many of us. When we got there to the location, 2010 Chestnut Road in Homewood, we was told that we could not enter the building. We was told there was a party that was pre-planned, so that means it was premeditated, pre-planned, happening, going on. We could not enter until 6:30. Reminding you, a caucus have already went out stating that it was taking place at 7 p.m. on that same very night. It saddens my heart because why would they send a notice stating that they're not going to open the doors to 6:30? Everybody know that seniors especially come early to vote so they can go back home. And if you knew, like I know, hundreds of people was going to show up, because y'all didn't know that, huh? Because y'all painted me as bad news for quite some time, that people didn't know I was going to come with drones of buses, drones of cars showed up.
She keeps saying drones of buses, man. I think she's doing this on purpose, man. She's trying to hurt my feelings. She keeps saying the drones of buses. Stop that. Okay. Were you about to say something?
No. I'm just laughing, man.
I just think it's interesting.
It very is, man. It is.
She done pivoted off of the whole, I was outside.
Right.
Now it's they're outside.
Right.
And I'm telling you, bro, I want buses. In that video, you see her with her phone scanning the room. I would love to know where that video is.
Yeah.
I would love to know. I bet you somebody told her quick, take that thing down. But yeah, I think this is very interesting how she's couching this story and this narrative is being formed. When she gets done, I'm gonna stop. I'm not gonna take the questions. Maybe I'll just, I'm gonna put the link up so everybody, if y'all want to grab it afterwards and go check it out, y'all can check it out. But I just think that's interesting how she's phrasing this. It sounds very much like a child that's trying to, got in trouble at school or punch somebody on the playground and is trying to recreate the story in a way that makes them not get in trouble. But let's go.
To vote for Supervisor Henyard. When we all showed up, they had to stay in their cars. They had to get out of line. Some people stayed in line because they wanted to wait just to vote. They then start opening the doors about 6:45. That's about 15 minutes before the actual event starts. How are they going to process over 500 people in 15 minutes? No way possible. The only way that I entered the building or got to the front of the line is because a young lady, baby, got taken inside without her. So she was banging on the door saying, let her in, and making a mess, a stir up, which any parent would. So I went up to the line to help her. That's how I got up. When I got up, I got in maybe 6:50, checked in, and I proceeded to the gym room. As you can see on the tape, you see me in the middle of the floor getting ready to.
That's not the story she told in the beginning, though. That is not the story she told on Wednesday morning or whatever that was during her little press conference on Wednesday. That's not what she said. That's wild.
Hopefully nominate myself in my team, and anybody else should have been able to nominate themselves on the floor, and that did not happen. Once 7 o'clock hit, the committeemen started the caucus. Reminding you, hundreds of people are still outside saying, let us in, let us vote. They did not listen to anything I stated when I said, hey, it's people still outside. Let them in, committeemen, let them in. Don't start the meeting till the people get in. What's the point of having a caucus if it's not going to be fair? What's the point of having a caucus if it's going to be dictatorship? What's the point of having anything if you're going to mute the people's voice? I stand for our voices to be heard. I stand with the people of Thornton Township. I stand for righteousness. And I am asking the courts to hear our cries. I am asking them to take us off mute and let our voices reside throughout Thornton Township. I am asking for justice to be done within this injustice of Thornton Township residents. Voters' rights are at stake. It's a lot of things that happened that went wrong that evening. Gender discrimination happened.
Y'all, please stop. Please stop. Did she say
The
gender
chat killing.
discrimination? Hold on.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Okay.
She said it.
Okay.
Bullying happened. Political bullying happened. Also, man, it's so many things to recite.
Let me make up.
So many things happened that evening, and we recited it in our lawsuits. So I'm gonna leave you with that because y'all know I could go about an hour with speaking. So I'm gonna make sure that you get a copy of the lawsuit and make sure that you understand that this cannot and will not stand. We will stand together. I'm also asking for all mayors to join us in this movement to stand for your residents' voices throughout the Thornton Township. I do know that Fitzgerald Roberts of Dixmoor is standing with me on the lawsuit. I do know that several other residents are standing. We got affidavits signed with hundreds of residents saying that they did not like what happened, that they would like a do-over, that they would like their voices to be heard, and they would like their opportunity to choose who they want in leadership. That did not happen that evening. So I'm asking the courts again to look into the justice done to the residents of Thornton Township. We will now open the floor for questions. We will allow Max Solomon to answer any questions that the media might have.
Okay, I'm not going to go through the question part because, as I told you all, I had a good brother coming on tonight to kind of tell his story. So, but I wanted to check my mics and make sure everything sounded right. So when I saw this, I said, let me just jump on a little bit early. And I was like, well, maybe Antonio will be a little bit late. Look at you. Good brother, good brother. But I dropped the link for this. If y'all want to go check out the rest of it, we'll definitely, maybe we'll look at it a little bit later on tonight or tomorrow. But I did want to respect Antonio's time. And if you don't mind, Antonio, I'll just talk a little bit about how we met and the such like that and give everybody just a little bit of build up. So okay. Antonio, during the YSL trial, lots of us had opinions about little Woody. Everybody drop a Woody in the chat. Matter of fact, if you go and put Woody in the chat, like we all had an opinion about him and we all wanted good things for him. And the overall consensus of the best live chat on the internet, which by the way, you are a part of, if you hit that like button. Right. The best live chat was that they wanted something good for Woody. They wanted Woody to have a good experience. But a lot of people were like, oh, I don't know how you're going to do that when you're used to out here in these streets making this kind of money in these streets. How do you make the shift? How do you make the pivot from being out there in the world, doing things out there in the world and actually moving in a different direction? And there's this brother in the chat was like, hey, I did. Like, well, what you talking about? And he was in the chat saying, you know, hey, I used to be a street. I don't want to ruin the surprise. He said, I used to be a man of the streets, a brother of the pavement. And he said, I made a change. I did some, I've been incarcerated, but I got out and I made better decisions. And I said, well, say less, brother, email me. So this brother has been emailing me. We were supposed to catch up last month, but that's all right. That's all right. Chicken wings on me next time, Antonio. Don't worry. But so this is Antonio Sinclaire, and I'm gonna let you just tell your story, brother. I hope I didn't ruin anything. I want to give you a chance to tell everybody who you are and why it is. And at the end of the day, I really want us to understand, like, hey, a dude like Woody, a dude like Antonio Sledge, these cats that we've seen in the YSL trial, or maybe people in your family tree, right. They actually there is hope for them. It ain't just the streets or jail. There's another option. And I wanted to give Antonio a chance to talk about it. What you got, brother?
Hey. Good afternoon, everybody. DWC fam chat. I'm Antonio, you know what I'm saying? Last name Sinclaire. Just glad to be on this platform with this great man of God, you know what I'm saying? And able to share my life testimony and what I've been through. Yes, change is inevitable. And you gotta want it, you know what I'm saying? You gotta put that work in, you know what I'm saying? It's like anything you do in life, you gotta put that work in. And I at the age of 17, you know, I was raised in the church basically all my life, knew nothing but the church, man. And you know how you kind of shielded from the world, you know what I'm saying? Raised in a Pentecostal house, you know, everything that you're affiliate with, if it's not of God, then it's no good. You know what I'm saying? It's not good for you. And so we were shielded and sheltered from a lot of the things in the neighborhood and in the streets per se. But I started to kind of drift away, man, and get myself caught up in the street life, idolizing the guys with the nice cars, and the guys coming to school with the nice kicks, and some of the things that I was neglected of having as a child, that I thought that was necessary. Kind of made me wanted to get out and hustle and look like the ones that really had it, because they looked like they had it going on. So I wanted to look like I had it going on. You know what I mean? So,
For
and
sure.
a lot of times, that's where we fall into the imagery, what I'm saying, the identity crisis type thing, because now, we're not satisfied, or we're not the word I'm trying to use, we're not who God called us to be in our own skin, because we sometimes take on the image of those things that are around us. So around about the age of 17, man, I was end up committing a crime where one of my friends was killed, what I'm saying, and I was charged with felony murder, due to the fact that, because in the commission of us committing the crime, he lost his life. And in the state of Florida, that charge carry life.
Out the door.
What I
Right.
mean? Straight out the door. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Ain't
Wow.
no. So just me going through that situation, man, and running, trying to get away, like most people do. I ended up going to every state that I can think of, from Georgia to, from Atlanta, Georgia to South Carolina, North Carolina, you name it. I lived in every hotel, from the grand to the poorest. You know what I mean? Just trying to run and get away from, what I was involved with.
So let me jump in there real quick. So
Mhm.
you were charged. Were you on the run?
Yeah,
You was
I
on the
run.
lam,
Yeah, I was gone, bro.
bruh.
They might have come on, put your track shoes on. I'm gone.
No, Antonio on the lam. All right.
Let's go.
Okay, so you were in the process of committing a felony.
Mm-hmm.
Someone lost their lives,
Right.
and Antonio said, "I got one better for you.
Yeah.
I'm hitting these." Wow. Okay, go ahead.
Out of
I
here.
apologize. Go
Yeah,
finish.
no problem, no problem. So, in the essence of that, man, I started running, man, and ended up going back and forth, and it was just like a real magnet to me. When I would go back home knowing I had this over my head, it was like every police officer had a picture of me in their car. So it's like when the police see me and I see them and we make eye contact, I'm gone. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my
The pursuit
God.
is on. It was crazy. And I never lived that life. Like, I was never raised that way. You get what I'm saying?
Wow.
I was raised in church. I knew the line. You get what I'm saying? You know
For
how they
sure.
say, how close to get to the line. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Mama always used to tell me, if you touch that stove, you're going to get burnt. You know what I mean? But I always knew where the line was, and I never played too close to it, but just kind of being influenced by the peers and by the guys around me, because I wanted to be down. You know what
For
I mean?
sure.
My daddy was like, man, you can't buy friendship, son. You get what I'm saying? Either people
Mhm.
gonna like you for who you are, or they're not gonna like you at all. And that was one of my Achilles
Achilles.
heel.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That I wanted to be so accepted, but I was trying to be accepted by the wrong people and the wrong crowd. You
I
know what
got
I'm saying? So, and that's what led to me, struggling with identity crisis of, is this who I'm supposed to be? Because I remember playing church. I wanted to be the preacher in the church. You know what I'm saying? My sisters and my cousins were singing and ushering, and we doing this in the backyard at home, man. So, but make a long story short, I ended up running, man, and I ended up in Atlanta, Georgia, Old
Uh-oh.
National Highway.
Yeah, I know Old National
Old
is.
Net down there by where Holyfield used to stay at. I
For
had a
sure.
friend that was a hustler, man, and he used to stay right across the street from me, and he moved to Atlanta, and that was my out. So when I left, I'm on the news in Orlando. I mean, my name, my face, my situation is on the news. I'm wanted all over. So it's nowhere I can hide. You get what I'm saying?
Wow. Okay.
And then and in the midst of that, man, my mom get killed.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, my mom get murdered, man. She was in the
Wow.
streets, man, on drugs real bad, and my mom ended up getting murdered. So I'm
In
calling
Florida.
in Florida.
Okay,
So
okay, gotcha. Okay.
I'm calling back and forth on the phones, talking to my family, and they was like, "Yo, listen, man, you know you can't come here. You know what I'm saying? You know you can't." So they telling me that it's detectives all around the houses, like they waiting for me to come back in town because they want me. You know what I'm saying? So
Wow.
I end up just not going to my mom's funeral. You know what I'm saying? I end up just kind of remembering her in the mind frame that I wanted to remember her, but yet and still not having that closure of seeing her laid to rest peacefully. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Because of what I got myself in. But like I said, I lived in Atlanta, and
How old were you right now?
man, I was 18.
Boy, if you don't stop,
Man, I was a baby, milk
I'm
still
thinking you
behind
just about
my
to say
ears.
30 or something, man. Go
No,
on,
man, I
swear.
was 18 when I got caught up in this, man. So
You
never
need a
been to
whooping, man.
prison. Need one,
You
huh?
need a whooping, man. Great day. Wow. Okay, go ahead, man. For real.
Yeah, man. Never even been to the county jail in my hometown. You know what I'm saying? Never been to prison. Never did anything worth, being criminally charged for. And in this instance, I left, fled, and like I said, I lived in Atlanta, moved from Atlanta, went to Columbia where my mom's people were from, stayed down there, bounced around there for a little bit, and then I end up moving to North Carolina. Make a long story short, get up here and not knowing nobody, and get hooked up in the street life, man. Became one of the, what I'm saying, well-known drug kingpins in the city of Charlotte. And that's where I caught my drug case at, man, in Charlotte, North Carolina, back in 97, 99, 2000. Doing the juvenile area,
All
what
right.
I'm saying, the hot boy area.
I know
And
exactly what you're
I
talking
end
about.
up catching my time here in Charlotte, man. Got messed up with some guys down here, man, and end up getting cased up on a federal case, man, for conspiracy. And at this
Wow.
time, man, not knowing the law, not knowing nothing, police trying to slide me cards in the car. Hey, call me, let me know, and I'm not, and make a long story short, when they get me in the interrogation room, they like, we don't even know who you is. We just see you around because, I was the type, I didn't want to play the club scene, and I didn't want to be involved because I already knew I had that hanging over my head.
Yeah,
So the worst thing I could do is get mixed in the street, and then my name start to floating. You get what I'm saying? My name start to catch traction, and now the police know who I am. Now, you know what I'm saying? And now everything will start to come together.
Come together, right.
So I was using alias names, man. I was, back in on Cleveland Avenue in Atlanta at the flea market, you could go there and get novelty IDs. So that's how I used to go get my IDs, my fake IDs, off Cleveland Avenue at the flea market.
Boy, if you don't stop it,
man, for real, man. I had, I didn't know, but I was around cats that knew, and then I started putting my hands in other things that kind of allowed me to make a little money to, help me get myself together.
Yeah.
And in 2000, man, I get jammed with the feds, man. Get caught with a quarter key in the car. And that was the last time I seen the streets, man. And then while in there, I knew I had this hanging over my head in Florida.
Yeah, hold on. So you got caught here. You got caught in North Carolina.
Got caught in North Carolina
with a quarter kilo.
With a quarter kilo of dope. Yep, in the car.
In the car.
So
you going away for a little vacation.
10 years.
10 years.
10 years on the dime.
But you still got the possible. You better not set foot in across that Georgia-Florida line.
No, sir.
They're gonna get you.
No, sir.
I just want to make sure I caught up on it. This is great. Continue.
And then at that time, so when I get jammed with the federal case, they sentenced me to 10 years. I still got this hanging over my head.
Mm-hmm.
So, federal outride state any day. You get what I'm saying?
For sure.
They trump state no matter what you're going through. When the feds get you, they're going to take care of what they got to take care of. When you get through doing what you got to do for them, then we'll pass you on to the next one, and you got to do what you got to do over there.
Right.
Right. So by me going to prison and not understanding, you know how they say jailhouse lawyers, but some of those guys in there were the best attorneys that money probably could never buy, because they had time on their hand where they studied the law, they knew the law. So had one guy, you know, help me out to get back to Florida so that I can handle this case, right? And when I get back to Florida, right? So in the commission, let me, I'm gonna jump a little bit, but then I'm gonna come back to that part right there.
We'll let you do it. We'll let you do it.
So they end up taking. So I get in there, and I file for what they call a habeas corpus. Mean, you know, I want the governor to come on and take me back. Let me go ahead and handle this because it's over my head. You know, there's no need for me to do this 10, and then I get out. I gotta handle the state business now. So I was like, well, let me go ahead and just face the music, you know. They don't know it's me. They can't identify it was me. Only thing that identified me was a bullet that I got shot with that kind of linked me to the crime. You get what I'm saying? Couldn't see my face, didn't have no latent prints, didn't have no none. But the most testimonial part about my story is in the midst of that situation when I was a juvenile, I was ignorant. I'm going in this place to, you know, to possibly rob them, commit a crime of robbery. No gloves on my hands, no nothing on my hands to the point of nothing that can trace me back to this place. So next thing you know, man, I end up going in there, man. And at first I was supposed to go in the store first. Then at the end, we changed it up. My partner went in first, then I went in second. Well, in the midst of us changing the story up in the car, I mean, changing the way we was going in the car, my homie went in first and hollered, "Get down." So when he hollered, "Get down," my man behind the counter get down, but when he get down, he come back up firing. So at this time, everything is in slow motion. It was like the Matrix. You know what I mean? You don't know what's what. You don't know where the fire coming from, who's shooting, whatever. I'm firing back, bam, bam, bam. I see my homeboy get hit. And first thing I do is me and the guy make eye contact. And at that point, when I turn, I get hit in my leg. Boom, fall to the ground. Both guns in my hand flew out my hand in the store. Both guns. I mean, tell you, I ain't had no gloves on my hand. So both guns fly out my hands in the store. So next thing you know, I feel what I know now. You know what I mean? I ain't no spookism, but what I felt, I knew it was an angel of the Lord that picked me up and pushed me out the door because I couldn't walk. When I got hit in my leg, it took my leg from me. So I had no strength in my leg. So it was like you had no leg. You know, if nobody never been shot before, it feels like you don't have a leg, you know what I mean, to stand on. For sure. So, you know, when I hit the door, I hit the door with my arms like this here, not to touch the door because I didn't have my gloves on, right? So once I get out the door and get in the car, I'm telling my other partner, like, yo, man, our boy gone, man. You know, he killed our boy. And it was like, man, no. He ain't. We got to circle around. So by this time, you hear the sirens going on, blaring. Wow. And so I end up, you know, we end up going back to the block. You know, they take all the clothes from me and everything like that, tied up in the bag. Get rid of all the evidence, man, that they had. So I'm in the house and my sister come in and see me bleeding. So I make up an alibi what happened to me bleed. Got in a little confrontation with some guys over here across town. We started squalling. Dude pull out the pistol, shoot me, boom, and you know what I mean? But I'm good. I tell my sister I'm good. Don't go tell my dad. Soon as she go tell my dad called the police. So that's how the police got on to me at home. So then they take me to the hospital, get to the hospital. Detectives coming, you know, they don't put a bolo out. They want to know it was more than one person. And so that's what linked me to it. But they never seen my face or anything. So fast forward, I go to prison, get the habeas corpus.
In North Carolina.
I go back to Florida.
To go back to
Florida, right.
I'm with you.
So now I'm starting my Fed time. So this is the earliest in my Fed. It's probably about a year or two in that I go ahead and start to, you know, take care of the situation so that I don't have it hanging over my head when I get out. So I end up taking care of the situation. They come get me. So I'm sitting in a cell in the county jail in my hometown. And so you get what they call a discovery.
Mhm.
So once you get a discovery, it's telling you all the evidence they got against you, who is who, and so forth and so forth. The whole detail of the case, right?
For sure.
So I'm sitting in the bed. By this time, man, I don't turn my life around. By this time, you know,
So this
I
is
don't.
on the backside of your Fed
Right,
time. So you
right.
did the whole 10 years?
Yeah, I did the whole 10. So this happening while this is the beginning of the 10 that I went back to Florida,
Mhm.
right? So
Right.
before I get to prison, while I was in jail, I had already made my turnaround, you know what I'm saying?
I
Made
got
my 180. So I was already back, reading my word, praying, what I knew as a child that kind of shielded me and protected me all my life, you know. And I just got back in right standing with God, man, in my relationship with God. And then, like I said, I ended up going to the county jail and, get my discovery and things like that, reading through it, man. And one thing that stood out to me, man, is that when I got to the evidence part, man, and because I remember I told you I failed with both of
With
the
the guns.
irons on the floor in the store. I didn't get them. So when I go and I read my motion of discovery, and it says, exhibit A and B, no latent prints found. Now your palms are sweaty when you're in situations like that,
I can
man.
imagine.
It's
Yeah.
very rare that you would talk about you got no latent prints off something somebody had in their hand holding tight. I mean, not no got the paper. I got the testimony upstairs, man. I kept it just for that reason, man, because I knew that one day it would be useful to somebody's child or somebody that may be going through a situation that don't know how they're gonna get out of it. So I kept that stuff, man, to be a testimony, a part of my testimony, man, to the youth in our community and those that are trying to, live that lifestyle without knowing the price that you can end up paying. It could have cost me my life. But make a long story short, they couldn't identify me. No latent prints on the guns, no blood in the store, no nothing. So at this time, man of God, I'm saying to myself, okay, I see your mercy, God. I see your grace. You know what I'm saying? This is
Unequivocal.
me right here now. I say, Lord, this is your grace. I see your mercy. I see what you finna do. So by me being a changed man, I wasn't finna go in here with the judicial system and play games with these people. So I say, okay, they came to me with a plea. Okay, we'll drop this murder charge if you plead out to attempted robbery with a firearm. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
you did it. You was there, even though they can't prove it. You get what I'm
Right.
saying?
For sure.
So we ain't gonna frustrate the grace of God, is what I'm saying in the long stretch. You know what I mean? We ain't gonna play with God's hand like that. You know what I mean? You was there. Get what I'm finna allow you to have right here, and I'm still carry you all the way through, no matter what. So I say, okay, they came to me with a plea, man, with 5 years, man. Uh, 5 years, ran concurrent.
Concurrent with your 10. I was about to say.
Come on.
Wow.
Come
Okay.
on.
Okay.
So you seeing God hand the whole way, you understand, in my life, man. So it wasn't I couldn't do nothing but accept it. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you this. If they had not offered you, was that attempted robbery with a handgun,
With the firearm.
with a firearm, what could they could have charged you with?
With the felony murder.
Felony murder. Okay.
Right.
How much would that have been? How much?
Oh, that was life plus 25.
Life plus 20.
Yeah, that was life plus 25.
They offered, instead of giving you life plus 25,
right?
They offered you 5
years.
You run concurrent with your 10 that you're already running.
That I'm already doing. So
okay, I just want to make sure I had it right. That's
right.
That's
so
amazing. Man.
Right. So when they get so when my lawyer come back and tell me, he was like, they offering this. Do you want to take it? He say, you could take it to trial and we can win because they ain't really got none. The owner of the store moved to California. He ain't want nothing to do with it no more. He shut the store down. So it's basically you and the state fighting it out. But I knew in my heart that I was wrong in what I did in the commence of my situation. And that's where, we have to pay the price. We have to pay our price, man. We have to give account for the things that we done, sins are not good or bad. It's results, man. You get what I'm saying? Consequences. Consequences are not good or bad. It's just the results. So I had to face the consequences, man. I was there, they don't know, but just to get everything under me and move on with my life, give me the 5, I go on back to prison. So once I get on back to prison, man, that's when my life really started to take a real fateful, great turn, man, to the point where I turned my life where I was still turned my life over to the Lord, but I even got more intense, man. I became more in a relationship with him like nobody could never tell me nothing different.
I love it. Let me stop real quick because I want to make sure we give this a second to breathe. So how old are you at this point?
At this point, when I did what I did, I was 17. I got locked up when I was 18, 19.
Okay.
19. I think it was 19. I got locked up when I was 19, and I was in jail from 19 all the way to what I did, 10.
Yeah, it's
you do
almost
the
30.
math. It's almost 30, 10
Yeah.
years. So I'm 30 years old when I get out, 30
Yeah, yeah.
something. And it was crazy, man. It was crazy. It was crazy.
All right. So we are now at your 29th birthday, and you're about to be released from jail.
Right.
You're in Florida.
Well, I mean, at this time in the federal institute, I think I discharged out of Marietta, Florida. I sure did. Wow, you smart, man. You must have been on the wall back there.
I'm trying to pay attention. I'm trying to follow along.
Yeah,
This is amazing. So you leave out of Marion, Florida. Did you go back home?
No, I couldn't go back.
They kicked you out. They banned you.
Because no, they didn't ban me because where I did my federal case at, they had more jurisdiction over state. Remember, I said I had the 5 years rank concurrence, so that was done after 5.
Wow. Okay.
So I had to go back to North Carolina. Now, in the midst of that, this is where my wife come and tag along. This is where I find my wife, you know what I mean?
Okay.
He who finds a wife finds a great thing, you know what I mean?
For sure.
But we've been knowing each other all my life, you know what I'm saying? And, I told her when I was younger that I was gonna marry her, and look, we married. We've been married 16 years. So she helped me. She came in, thank you. She came in on the tail end of my sentence. You know what I mean? I think I had like 2-3 years left before I came home. So my wife stayed down with me for the 3, you know what I'm saying, that I was in.
Wow.
And man, it's been a story to be told. It's been written ever since then. So now, man, leave that situation. I had to go to the halfway house for at least 6 months. Now, mind you, my wife living in Florida and I'm in North Carolina, because if I took a chance to go to Florida where she was, I may have not got the halfway house. So they was like, now, if you go back to North Carolina, you'll get your 18 months halfway house, you know what I mean? Which allowed me to get out a year, 18 months earlier.
Oh, okay. I got you. It makes sense. Okay.
So that was the 10. If I wouldn't have did the 18 months, I had pushed it all the way to the door. So get out, come to North Carolina, wife not here. So I take a job at Chipotle Mexican Grill, making $8.25 an hour.
Stop, because that's actually how I met you. I think you were talking, I think one of the chat, you were talking about how you left the street life and took a job at Chipotle. And I think that's what caused me like, wait, what's this brother talking about over here? And that's where how we actually connected.
Right.
Okay. I think you might need to take a few more seconds, a
Okay.
few more laps around the block so people understand that you, rather than go back to something that you could have done, probably could have got back into it pretty quickly.
Easily.
You chose something I think most of us can agree is probably not what we'd expect a former drug dealer to be doing, and not be dealing drugs on the side.
Right.
So, all right, go ahead and tease that out a little bit.
So at that time, I, doing while I was locked up, like I said, I had a whole mind and heart change. So when I got out, coming from that fast lane and having that money, I knew what came with it, so it wasn't attractive no more. So I just said it's just time to be a law-abiding citizen. So I went and got me a job at Chipotle. making $8.25 an hour, walking to work from the halfway to Chipotle, walking to work. So that was humbling. Didn't have no car, didn't have nothing. I'm fresh out of prison at the halfway house.
For sure.
So I end up just getting this job, man, and making $8.25 an hour. Moved my wife from Florida with $8.25. Moved us into our own apartment. Nothing but the hand of God. No, she didn't have no job. She didn't have none of that. When she came, only thing she came with was the house, everything she came with. So from $8.25 an hour, this is in 2009. So we making it, you know what I mean? We think we living, you know what I mean? Making $500-$600 every 2 weeks. We think we doing it, you know what I mean?
All right, bro,
You
come
know?
on, man.
But it was just, it was just the humbleness, man, of that experience, man, that taught me that in my mind, I knew I wasn't going back to prison. I knew that wasn't even a thought. I knew I wasn't going back to prison. So I knew I wasn't going back to the old way of living or the old way of thinking. Got out, didn't nobody know who I was, didn't nobody, because I had dreads. So I had this Florida, man, I had this Florida look on me. I had the dreadlocks, man, the chains hanging. So nobody really knew who I was. I gained weight, so nobody knew who I was. You know what I'm saying? So at this time, man, I'm just on the straight and narrow, man. So I started Chipotle making $8.25 an hour.
Let me real quick. Where were you living in contrast to where you were when you got caught up?
In Charlotte. I was here in North Carolina.
So you're still in Charlotte. Okay, gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
I was locked up here, you know what I'm saying?
I got you.
When I ran, this is where I stayed at. So I kind of was familiar with the state and the city. You know what I mean? So then that's when I was transitioning and started getting myself back in the game. You know what I mean? So I just had to just do what I had to do. You know what I'm saying? To make it do what I do. Make it do what it do. So make a long story short, got the Chipotle job, man. Moved the wifey up here. We doing what we doing. She finally get her something going on. And so now we move my daughter up here. So my daughter come up here. So now we just trying to get traction. So my wife was the inspiration behind birthing my visions that I had in prison. I came out with a plan of action while I was in. I wasn't just sitting there on idle time, just reading my word, doing what I had to do. But I actually also had a plan of action, what I wanted to accomplish, how I wanted to accomplish it. And I shared it with my wife. And she ended up birthing those things the visions that I was giving her. That's why it's important to find the right wife and the right woman. That's why it's so important to find the right rib, so you don't need a spare rib. You get what I'm saying?
I see what you did there. I like that.
So my thing was, man, is that she helped me. I had a dream, I had a vision of 3 things, either being a crane operator, a truck driver, or being a mortician, right? Okay. So at this time, I tell my wife the vision. Hey, I need to get my CDLs. Can you help me get them? This woman helped me study, had the flashcards, helped me with the test. Like, yo, we practicing. Like, she's really buying into, it's milk and honey here in North Carolina. So I'm going to help this man get it. So, kudos to my wife, Jocelyn. She helped me get my CDLs. You know what I mean? She helped me get my CDLs, man. And from there, man, it was up from there. We started working for other people. Every job I had, man, I was working this is crazy. I was working at Food Lion, man, as a customer service manager, handling these people money as a convicted felon. Wow. Now you can't really tell me that this ain't God in the midst of all this, man, because ain't no way in the world a convicted felon for to be handling somebody's money over a big old corporation. Like, come on, wait, that's unheard of. You know what I mean? To the natural man, you know what I mean? It's unheard of. So we went from there, man, and I got my CDLs, and I started driving, man. And then we started focusing on, being entrepreneurs. And eventually, man, we end up buying some trucks, man, and getting in the trucking game, man. And from there, man, my wife didn't work. She had a baby at 43. You know what I mean?
Okay. Congratulations.
We was doing our thing. You know what I'm saying? So it was all you know, because of her and the support that she gave me, you know, during this transition, during this time of rebranding, rebuilding myself, that I was able to, you know what I'm saying, get where I need to be. And I always told her, I say, you know, if you help me get here, no matter what, I say, you'll never have to work again in your life. Like, this woman ain't worked. My baby daughter is 11. My
Mhm.
wife ain't worked in 10 years. You know
Congratulations,
what I
man.
mean? And I held my word to that, man. And I stayed true. I ain't test drive nobody else's cars, man, when I got out here. I stayed with the one car that I bought
There
before
you
I got
go.
out. That's the only car I've been driving. I ain't
Come
desired to
on.
drive nobody else's car. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, they look nice riding up and down, but yeah, I got one look nicer. You get
Right,
what
right,
I'm
right.
saying? So, you know, that's just a testament, and shout out to my wife on that, man, because, you know, like I say, she kind of the backbone to this thing, man, of how we become a trucking company, Diplomat Transportation System, LLC. She was the birth of that, man. You know, I just gave her the seed, man. She incubated that thing, man, and took off, man. And I've been driving trucks ever since, man. So when you talk about change, man, and change is, like I said, it's inevitable, but you gotta want to change. You know, you gotta have the mind to change, because it's gonna be a challenge because of the old way we think, the old way that we do things, the way that we're used to familiarity, or our mind is on our subconscious mind is on autopilot. So it's used to, when I get in the struggle, it knows what to do. It knows how to go out there and get something when I need to get it, or if I need to get this done, I know how to go do it subconsciously. You know, because we work autopilot. As humans, we are always on autopilot. You know,
Mhm.
not to touch the stove, it's hot, it'll burn you. That's autopilot. So, you know, with her helping me overcome that, man, like I said, we get this trucking company, and it's just been blissful, man. It's been blissful, man. And you know, we put the business down about a few months. And I told you, you know, recently when we met up, I was driving for another company,
For sure.
and I got into that truck accident. So, man,
Yeah.
I'm still kind of recovering from that right now, man, and trying to get myself back together. But even in that, God has still been providing. So, my thing is, to the Woodies, to the Little Jeffs, to the Pee Wee Roscoe's, to all
Yeah,
these
yeah.
boys, man, that, you know, think these Shannons, the Yaks, you know, to all these brothers, it's change can happen. You just
For
gotta
sure.
want it. You know, even in the environment that they're in, the state that they live in, you know, it took me leaving from my state to make an impact, to do what I need to
Yeah,
do, get out this
yeah.
atmosphere of familiarity, of me
Jordan
having to
Williams
try
from
to
St. Albans.
keep up with the popularity contest. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, so my message to those type guys is that, man, if you really want it, man, you can do it. But a lot of times, like we say, we live in a life of facadeness, man. We live in a life where identity is everything, man. You got to look a certain way, you got to talk a certain way, you got to dress a certain way, or you won't be accepted in that way. So if you got to do all those things to appease others, you know what I mean, then you may have to remove yourself from that environment and put yourself somewhere else where you can be comfortable in your own skin and not have to keep up or make adjustments in
Come on.
situations that appease other people. You know what I mean? Because I can
Very
tell
good.
you, when I went to prison, I ain't had no homeboy send me no money. I ain't had no homeboy send me a letter, a Christmas
Wow.
card. I ain't give my wife 50 cents. But when I was out here, I made sure everybody eat. I made sure everybody had. You know what I mean? And that's just the learning curve, man. That's the thing about change, man. And like, I've been in this city, man, for since 2009, and people still don't even know who I am. They
Ah,
don't even recognize who I am because I don't look like what I went through. You get what I'm saying?
I like it. I like
That's
it.
a testimony to the change that takes place in your life, man. Not only when you just get the Lord in your life, but when you make up your mind that you want to do the right thing, you know, and it's not hard, you know, it's not hard. Um, I believe everything in life has a process, man. Baking a cake has a process.
Oh, yeah.
Has certain ingredients that you have to use that if you leave one out, it could flop the cake. You know what I mean? So my thing is that like when I look at these situations with these young bros through the YSL situation, man, they've been afforded another opportunity, man, at this thing that sometimes don't even come to you, man. So my thing to them is you made your mark. You've made your mark on Cleveland. You made your mark in Atlanta. You made your mark in
In the rap game.
Mechanicsville, in
Yeah.
the rap game. You've done all that. People know who you are now. You know what I mean? Go out and do something positive, like the judge told Jeff. Go out and make a greater impact in your community than what you did when you was out here, because apparently people look up to you. People look up to your music. They listen to you. You know what I mean? They seen you on the biggest stage that you could ever be on, man, and that's in the courtroom on national TV. Now give them something, or give the youth something now to thrive off of and make our community and our culture a better place. You know what I mean? If you want to go back to Cleveland, but let it be going back to change the demographic, or change the narrative of that community. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
To go back ain't always a bad thing, but to go back and not make change is even worse. You
I
know,
agree.
and I think that's where sometimes the guys that go through what I've been through, man, and tread down that road, man. Sometimes that's the lesson that they don't get. They don't have people that can deposit that type of positivity, or give them another pivot to look at. They
Like,
don't. They don't.
like
Yeah, they don't have a person that can say, man, you can make a pivot in this situation, man, and we can do more on this side than we was on that side.
absolutely.
So my thing is, man, for all those that may be in that lane, that may have loved ones that's traveling that road, man, it's a dead end. It's only two things that come out of that: either prison for the rest of your life, or in that prime box. You get what I'm saying?
For sure.
So, it's a choice. Now, in addition to my change, like I was telling you about my trucking company, I'm in school for mortuary right now. I'm going to
Okay.
school to be a funeral director.
Okay.
One of
Okay.
my visions, again, give it to my wife, and she birthing this vision, walking me through. Never been to college. Never. First man in my family to ever go to college, man.
Okay.
So I'm making strides, man, to do what I need to do, because I love ministry and I love people. And I think that the two correlate, you know what I'm saying? So
For sure.
now I'm in school, man, for mortuary, man. I think I have one more year, man, before I test out, man, and be officially, you know what I'm saying, a mortician, man.
Wow. All right. No, man,
Yeah.
shout out to you, man. That is an amazing
Yeah, man.
story. What
Yeah.
would you say if somebody was watching this and they're in that street life and they're like,
Mhm.
okay, all right, okay, I don't have cases, I don't got things hanging over my head, but I know that eventually this is gonna go bad.
Mhm.
What would be the first steps that you would give in order for somebody, young guy, old guy, whatever, to start making steps to get out of the street life?
What first came to mind when you said that, man, is the environment. Get out the familiarity of the environment. Get out of the place that you're so familiar with. Because sometimes we get so comfortable, like the Dove commercial, we get comfortable in our own skin, man, and
Oh,
we don't, and we don't know how to get out because we're so used to where we at. You know what I mean? It's almost like
exactly.
a lake, that has no outlet or inlet. Everything that goes in it continues to die because it has no oxygen coming in. So
Mm,
my first thing would be, man, is to get out the environment. If it's not an environment that will produce good, you first got to go get you together first before you're able to save the village. You know what I mean?
gotcha.
So
For
my
sure.
thing would be to change the geographical location, man. Go somewhere, get a new start. Go where people don't know you. And I think that's the best way to do it, because now um you don't know nobody, don't nobody know you, and you don't have to try to meet nobody else's expectations or live up to their ideal of who you should be. And if you
Got it.
don't have the money, if you don't have the means to get out, at least move on the other side of town. Move somewhere out of the familiarity of the community that you in. You know how they say that we are products of our environments? No, we're a product of our decisions and our choices. We're not product of our environment, because if that was the case, LeBron James wouldn't be an all-star basketball player that he is if he continued to allow his environment to shape him. You get what I'm saying? So
No, I agree 100%.
we're not a product of our environment. And I think that's where sometimes these youth and sometimes these young men get lost at, because they think this is it. You know, this is all I know. This is all it is. It's nothing else to it. I didn't first travel the world or leave out the state of Florida till I was running from the police. I thought all the thing that exists was Florida. Dreads, gold teeth, long chains, and just, doing what we do, until I got out and seen something different.
I got you.
Until I seen something better. You know what I mean? Now when I go back home look dead to me.
For sure.
It looks dead. You know what I mean? It looks worn out, looks tired, and everybody is like, you look vibrant, you look different, because I got out the environment.
Absolutely. So what would you say, man? How would you get somebody to make that first step, like to get, because I'm afraid to leave. I'm familiar here. Everybody knows me. I know how long it takes to drive to the Kroger. I know the people at Starbucks know me, and I'm afraid. You talking about going to another place, a different state, different time zone, maybe, and whatnot. How would I make that first move? In your opinion?
That first move, like I say, if in that type of situation, I mean, it could start where you at, but it can't continue. The process can't continue where you are. So you might have to go get you a 9-to-5, get a plan of action together, where you want to be, what you want to do, because we already know that the hustling, that stuff is no good. You don't know who the police is now. Your homeboy could go down the street, get stopped by the police, come back, and y'all don't even know he don't got stopped by the police, and now they building a conspiracy case against you just because your homeboy got caught with some weed and you don't know. You know what I mean? So you run the risk already. You running the risk by being in that environment. So what's wrong with taking that chance to get out of it? Just go get you a job, find you something you want to do, stack your little paper, and you know what I'm saying? Go on. I did it with nothing.
Right.
So imagine if you got an opportunity to get a job or to start somewhere to turn it around, and then you move on. You get what I'm saying? Then you move on. But 9 times out of 10, it starts here too, man. It got to be here. Once it get here, if you can start it in your thoughts, and then it penetrates to your feelings, where your heart, your mind, your emotion, your mind, your will, and your emotion sit in your heart, then once that get affected, now your body gonna move towards where you need to go. You get what I'm saying? Now you will start moving in that direction, but it got to start here first. It got to start here, and then it affects this, which allow this to move.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So I think, man, that to me, that's a place that you have to start right there where you are. Allow the process to take its time, and a lot of times, they don't know where to start from if they only got people that look like them and doing the same thing they're doing. But it's other people in the neighborhood that I seen that wasn't doing what I was doing. So I had somebody that I can see and say, hey, he doing it. Because when I got behind the prison walls, I said, well, all the lanes and all the squares, they free. And here I am trying to be this big dude or this kingpin guy. And I'm sitting here in this 8x10, calling home for somebody to give me some money for some commissary.
Right.
So, my thing is that, man, it can be done, but they got to have the heart and they got to have the will to do it, and have people around them, man, that would tell them the truth. Can
you talk about that? Like what was your, because it sounded like you praise God for your wife, Jocelyn. Shout out to Jocelyn. Hopefully we spelled it right. Well, we shout out Jocelyn.
Yep. They got it right.
Okay. Shout out to Jocelyn.
Yep.
Now, And of course, you yourself, it seemed like the Lord screwed your head on there, correct?
Right.
At least got your head on there right. But you got your wife.
Mm-hmm.
Your head is on right. You got your wife. But what about your community? What about were there any other sources or any other people outside of your family, outside of your immediate household that you feel also were integral in you making this pivot and staying on the track? Because I'm sure you probably seen people try to go in that direction, but then the street pull them back. So like, speak on that.
I changed my crowd. I changed the friends that I thought I had. I changed that. So the people that are in my circle now were the ones that are in my circle when I changed for the new. You get what I'm saying? I didn't have the same old friends while I went through my process of change. Matter of fact, I don't even know where half of them at. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Co-defendants that I did have when I got out that lived here in Charlotte, we kicked it on the outs as everybody got out. We kind of met up with each other. But then again, like you said, they started going this way. I'm going this way. They started going this way. So in even in that, man, I love them. I love them dearly, but we going two different ways, man. And I can't go your way, and I'm trying to steer you my way. It was a couple of them that I had on the path of owning their own trucks, and because they had hustlers mentality. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
They were already business-minded people. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Only
the
thing
right
they
kind of
need is they
business.
needed somebody to direct them in the business, because the same mindset that it took you to go out there and move a quarter key of dope or a key of dope is the same thing it take you to go get in the truck or get on somebody's job and make the same amount of money. It's a flip. It's the same hustle, just a different product, you know? So at that moment, man, I changed my circle. I changed everybody around me, you know? So the people that became a part of my circle and my family and my supporting cast were the new people that I made into that, or I invited them in that was going the way that I was going. So of course they say, you know, the people you hang around or the company you keep is who you will become. You get what I'm saying? So I had to change my company. I had to. It was no other way, because if I would kept the same company, you know, it's almost like water beating the rock. Sooner or later, the water gonna make that rock smooth. If it beats it down too long and for a long period of time, sooner or later that water will weaken a strong piece of rock. So me being a rock, I couldn't allow their water or their drip in their life to drip on me to continue to make me weaken, make me change the way I'm thinking and the direction I want to go, giving my kids a better life. You get what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
It's a challenge, but you gotta want to do it. You got to want to do it, and you got to change the friends, because you'll know those that's who's supposed to be there. It's not nothing that's far-fetched, man. You know, so I stick me, my wife, and my kids is how I get out. I got friends that I mingle with in the church, and friends that ain't even in the church, people that I just meet, because I meet no stranger. You know, wherever I go, man, I'm the life of their party, any party. You write me to, you're like, man, wait, we've been knowing this joker all his life. That's just my charisma. That's the gift that God gave me, that when I go in a place, man, I light it up. My wife be like, dude, you be in a grocery store, I just pick a dude out, we just go at it. And next thing you know, the dude be like, man, you act like I've been knowing you all my life. It's just a gift that God has given me as an evangelist, that I can make an impact in people's life, man. You know what I mean? I'm an agent of change. You get what I'm saying? So when a person come around me, man, my impact, what I'm going through and what I got on my life, the anointing I got on my life, is gonna force you to want to change. It's gonna force you to ask me, man, how you get here, man? How you know, like I said, I had a lot of co-defendants look at where I got to and was tried to do it the same way, or tried to obtain what I got, but didn't go about it the same way I went about it.
Yeah.
So it failed. And so when it failed to them, only thing they knew what to do is go back to what I was familiar to.
Wow. Man, Antonio, man, this is an amazing story. I'm glad we got a chance to catch up and to hear this. You've given us a lot to chew on and think about, whether or not somebody themselves need to make a change. I see somebody here was actually referencing a family member that needs to make that kind of pivot. So I
Right.
pray that they'll be able to maybe even share this.
Right.
Maybe I'll stop at a point and clip it so that they are able to share this, and maybe they'll get some ideas and get maybe they need to run away. Maybe Montana. I heard Montana is
Right.
beautiful this time of year.
Right.
But so no, I think that's a great story, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Now
man.
y'all been married for 16 years. How many
16.
people? How many little people y'all got?
Man, we actually got 3, man. We actually got
Congratulations.
3, man. And we got the last one here, the 10-year-old, the baby girl.
Okay.
I call her, she the last of the dying breed. So she, so she's benefiting from everything. So, my oldest daughter that just got married, 16, she's been married for a year now.
Okay.
Stayed pure all the way till she was married, stayed a virgin. Young ladies, keep yourself. Keep yourself, young ladies. I'm telling you. My baby is 24 years old, man. She got married when she was 23, a virgin, never been penetrated, never been touched. We kept her in the word of God, and we taught her what a real young lady was like. You save yourself for your husband. And she got married, and her and her husband been together now a year, man.
Okay.
And
Congratulations.
she been doing her thing, man. So she's out of the house. She went to college. Actually, you can see they went to Johnson C. Smith,
Yep.
JCSU. Her and my wife graduated at the same time. So those two
Oh, wow.
banners you see back there,
I was
that's
wondering what
their,
that was. Okay.
yeah, that's their they both of them graduated in 2023, mother and daughter
Nice.
together.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So they went back to
Congratulations,
school together, man, and got their degree. And this is them right here, man. That's
love it.
Jocelyn and Jayla right there. I'm trying to see if I can.
You got a little
There
bit
you
of
go.
shine, but it's okay. I got you.
You know what I'm saying? That's them right there.
You right.
So they actually they went to school together, man, and did their thing, man, as a mother and daughter, which inspired me to go back to school. I'm like,
There
y'all
you go.
can't leave daddy now. Y'all can't leave daddy. And I got a son that's 23 from another relationship I was in. He live in Greenville, South Carolina. And I'm still working with my son on the same thing that I'm talking on this channel tonight about, man, because he's so much like me, you know what I mean?
For sure.
And the stories that he was fed was the stories of that negative lifestyle I used to live, the image that he had. So it's hard for him to adjust to the new me,
Okay.
and every time that we have conversations, he and I teach him that love the person that I am now, because that guy back then was no good. He was a devil, bro. He was demon for real. Like, he wasn't nothing to play with. So don't try to live that lifestyle. Don't listen to those stories from your mom and your other family members. Learn me now, because I'm a better man now than I could have ever been back then. You get what I'm saying?
For sure.
And I'm just trying to pass the family business down to him, man, and just trying to get him to understand that I'm setting you up. Like, I gave my son a car at 16.
Okay.
My dad didn't give me no car at 16. I never knew what that was. You know what I mean? So I'm intentionally breaking some generational curses.
Okay.
You know what I mean? By doing things for my son that my dad never did for me. Giving, but not trying to buy. You get what I'm saying? Because my son had a lot of resentment because he think that I left him when I went to prison. I forgot about him, that I didn't want nothing to do with him. So, I had to rebuild that relationship. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
I had work when I came out. It wasn't just that all these great things happened. I had a lot of work, man, and I'm still working to make him an even better man than I am today, because a lot of people that I'm associate with that are doing great things in the world, when they see him, they were like, man, your dad is everything, man.
Wow.
And when he hear it, man, you can just see the light in his eyes. His eyes just light up like, man, my dad really is that dude. You know what I'm saying? But I try to let others give him what he needs to see about me and not me, because it might come off different, because he think he think he can outswag me, he think all this stuff, you know what I mean? So me and him go back and forth like, look, Junior, boy, I made the dominoes, you just carved the eyes out of them, you know what I mean?
Right.
You ain't nothing you can pull over on me. But he's a great young man, and he's, like I say, man, he's just he in this world, man. He in this culture thing, man. But you know, he ain't got no felonies. Thank God for that. He ain't got no
Okay.
kids. Thank God
Okay.
for that. He got a job. So, you know, I can deal with the little twigs you blow, and you know, the gas, that's what they call it, the gas you blow and all that.
Yeah.
I did it too, man. You know what I mean? But I
Guilty
got
as
grace and
charged.
mercy, and I got a time expanded for him, allow him to make his mistakes, man. But you know, I can't allow him to stay there too long. But he coming along great, man, and he gonna make somebody's daughter a great husband one day. I promise you that.
Man, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, man, Antonio, thank you so much, man, for
Man,
taking the
blessings
time.
to you, man.
Bless
Thank
you,
you.
man. Thank you for telling your story. Thank you for being
Yes.
a part of the best live chat on the internet. I'm glad
It
that
is, y'all. DWC, I'm telling you, get on and lay down.
I love it, man. Thank you so much.
Yes, man.
Well, you said you got a year left in school.
Yep, got a year left
mortuary
in school. Yep.
We become a funeral director.
Yes,
Outstanding.
sir. I can't wait.
That's gonna be interesting. I'm looking forward to hearing how that goes.
Can't wait, man. I can't wait, man.
Okay. I kind of want to know why you thought about that, but man, I think
Go
mortuary
ahead.
science is
Come on, let's do it. Go ahead. The reason
real
why
quick.
I thought about
What's
Go ahead.
appealing of mortuary science for you?
What was appealing to me was it was the service that they provided to people when they was hurting.
Yeah, for sure.
My passion for people, man, that hurts, man. Whether it's somebody on the street, you know, or just anybody, man. You know, it could be people that was homeless. I remember I was a kid giving money on a field trip to out the school bus when it's homeless people standing on the corner as a kid. So my passion for people, man, especially for those that are hurting, man, and those that you can provide a shoulder for them to cry on, or comfort and service, you know. And plus also, man, it's gonna leave a legacy for my kids, man. And you know, hopefully they'll take it and do something with it, man. You know, it's lucrative. I ain't got to worry about a joker running up in there talking about get down, lay down, because ain't nobody going in no funeral home. You can leave the doors wide open. Joker don't even want to ride past a funeral home, so I ain't even worried about that, man. You know,
that's true. Good point.
they say be scared of the living, not the dead. They ain't gonna do nothing with you, man. But it's always been a passion of mine, man, to just give that service to people, man, just to be there for them. And that's what really drove me to it, man. You know, so
I love it.
I'm going full throttle with it too, man.
Okay.
I'm going full throttle. Yeah, I'm going full
Well, man, we are
throttle.
cheering you on, man.
Thank you.
In front of the camera, behind the camera, and in the best live chat. We want to say thank you so much for your testimony. I'm going to clip this out, and I'm hoping that it'll be something that we can share with others. I think that there are definitely others that would love to hear this. So I want to say thank you again, Antonio. Bless you and your family for taking the time to chop it up with us, man. This was a lot of fun, man. Thank you,
man. It was
for your diligence, man. Antonio, if you give Antonio your information, he gonna follow up with you. So
yes, sir. You better know it. You better know it. I'm an agent of change now, so don't come playing no games. If you don't want to change, don't play no game, because I ain't got time to waste. Time is money, and money is time, baby. Let's do it.
Let's do it, man.
Let's
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, man, and much blessings to you, man, and the first family.
One of them was in here. One of them was in here a minute ago harassing me.
Well, hopefully, man. We'll get together, man. My daughter is supposed to be in Atlanta next week. I think we're supposed to be planning to come down, but I'll give you heads up, man, and let you know that we supposed to just drive down and have a couple of days down there with her for her job. But you know, I want to at least catch up with you and put my arms around you, man, and put my hand in your hand and just say thank you, man.
We will make it happen, Lord willing, sooner than later, for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Chat, y'all the best. Wish everybody in the chat luck and praying nothing but blessings upon y'all.
Well, thank you so much, Antonio.
Thank
Grace
you,
and
bro.
peace, my friend.
Likewise. Love.
Bless,
yes, sir.
Well, that was a good one, though, y'all. I don't do commenter or community interviews often, but that was well worth all of it, man. Shout out to Antonio and his wonderful family and the great story that he told. And I like how you said it right here. This was a great testimony. I agree with you, Jolena, a lot. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Thank y'all so much for tapping in on that. Thank you again, Antonio, for making that such a great segment, man. That was a really good segment. Now, I do want to shift gears. We're going to shift just a little bit. And I do want to talk about something. I agree with you, Miss Mandy. We'll probably do that more often for sure. I want to follow up on a video that we did actually yesterday, which was Nate the lawyer talking about the Daniel Penny story. And there was a lot of back and forth about that. There's lots of discussion, if you will. And I do want to talk about something because I think, and I made a lot of hay the other day, probably lost a couple friends by saying that I don't support Black Lives Matters. And I want to maybe press on that a little bit more, maybe explain myself a little bit more. When I say Black Lives Matters doesn't represent reality, one, and they're very inconsistent, because we saw the Daniel Penny story, and of course, Black Lives Matters crawls from up under a rock, crawls from up out of the sewer, and they're, trying to find a microphone and to ramble off their foolishness about how the justice system is unjust. The justice system is biased. The justice system is racist and the things of that nature. And it's easy when you look at things in a vacuum. It's very, very easy to find yourself maybe even head nodding and saying, yeah, I kind of agree about that. Yeah. It is easy to do that. However, when you see a apples to apples comparison that the system isn't rigged, that the system isn't unjust, they don't have anything to say about that. And so what I'm going to do in this segment is I'm just going to show you, again, shout out to Nate the lawyer, fantastic content creator.
20-year-old.
Really appreciate what he does. I'm going to show you the example why Black Lives Matters is completely, they're completely useless in society today. My name is Jason, dearwokec@gmail.com. So let me bring this video in real quick. All right. Now you may or you may not have seen this. This is a, you know what? I'm going to let you watch it. Shout out to Nate the lawyer. We're going to watch it together. I'm going to let you see it. And you will see exactly why I say that Black Lives Matters is useless, except to ferment, except to fan, except to try to exacerbate issues, slight issues between people and turn them into mountains out of molehills. Let's go.
Jordan Williams from St. Albans, Queens is now over. Williams was arrested and charged with manslaughter for stabbing 36-year-old Victor Udrago to death on a J train in Brooklyn 2 weeks ago. From the beginning, Williams said he acted in self-defense.
I was scared in that situation.
All right, in the aftermath of the Daniel Penny incident, a lot of people ask, well, what if Daniel Penny, the white guy, happened to be black? Well, we have the answer to that because this is Jordan Williams, not Neely, but Jordan Williams. Now, Jordan Williams was riding the train and insane, crazy person came on the train and Mr. Williams stabbed him to death in quote unquote self-defense. But we'll see how that case was handled differently than the case of Daniel Penny. Strap up. It's going to be interesting.
All right, again, shout out to Nate.
Okay, so with this story with Jordan Williams, we're going to start with the body cam footage. You have men on the train who are harassing passengers, but they're not harassing passengers threatening to kill them, just the normal kind of lunatic harassment that happens on the train. You'll see. No one's being threatened to be killed or anything like that, but you'll see how things escalate to one person is eventually stabbed.
Yo, you understand what I'm saying? Stop it. No, you see this?
Now I'm stopping it here because this is like normal stuff that happens in New York. I've ridden the subway for many, many years, and you have people like this that come around and beg for change and, will say stuff to you and all that stuff. But again, this is no reason why someone should be stabbed, right? This guy's just essentially just walking around. They seem to be intoxicated, and they're not saying, we're going to kill everybody on the train, and I'm looking to go to jail, and I'm going to kill, and I'm not taking no for an answer. None of that's going on here. It seems pretty quiet. Now, one of the two homeless men goes over to Jordan Williams and his girlfriend and slaps his girlfriend in the face. And then this happens. So now, as you see from this camera footage, the two men are in the corner struggling, and one of those men pulls out a knife and then stabs the other guy.
Get your hands off of him! Get your hands off of her!
This is an accessible station. The elevator is at the center of the platform.
Sorry. Stop. I just stabbed that Lincoln. That's you stabbed him? Holy shit. You're gonna go to jail. Hey. You're gonna go to jail. Hey.
So I think it's important to understand the differences between the two cases. In this case, you saw those two guys, they weren't belligerently telling people they're going to kill them and all that stuff like Jordan Neely did. What they were doing was, harassment. It was harassment. Oh, this, but it wasn't anything violent. And then eventually somebody got pissed off, they got into a struggle, and somebody happened to die. We're in the Daniel Penny case, all the passengers said this guy was acting as if he was going to harm people. I was protecting my child. He said he was going to go to jail and he was not going to take no for an answer. All of that stuff matters. So in one case, you had someone who was obviously saying they're going to kill everybody on the train. That person was stopped by multiple passengers. And then this other one, Jordan Williams' girlfriend gets slapped in the face by a homeless guy, and he pulls out a knife and stabs the guy to death. Now, what's going to happen? Well, the Brooklyn DA is going to charge the man who stabbed the homeless guy with manslaughter, but since he has a weapon, he's going to be facing 25 years of life because he not only killed them, but he killed them with a weapon that he wasn't really supposed to have. You're not supposed to walk around New York with knives above 4 inches. So I'm not sure how long his knife is, but if you kill somebody with a weapon, that enhances the penalty. So Jason Williams, who happens to be black.
I don't know why he called him Jason. I thought that was funny that he calls him Jason. So everybody in Georgia carries a knife. That is craziness, man. Everybody in Georgia well, except me. I don't actually carry a knife. But I don't know anybody who doesn't carry a knife. At least one. My goodness, in the morning, man. New York, man. I'm sorry for y'all.
Is facing 25 years in jail for killing this unarmed black man on the train.
All right, buckle up. Marine veteran Danny Penny will be arraigned June 28th in Manhattan Supreme Court. You heard about this. This following a grand jury indictment for the subway death of a homeless man, Jordan Neely. Meanwhile, it doesn't end there. Jordan Williams, the man accused of fatally stabbing an ex-con who was attacking his girlfriend, according to a myriad of witnesses, during a different subway struggle, now facing 25 years for manslaughter following an emotional hearing in Brooklyn. Dr. Darren Porcher is now a former NYPD lieutenant and retired U.S. Army official, criminal justice expert. So, Darren, you have two citizens who wanted just to use the subway and ended up fighting for their life. And both find themselves indicted by a grand jury. Both have been charged by the city. First off, let's start with what we know about Jordan Williams. What do you think about this case?
I think that we had an innocent citizen that was stepping to the defense of his girlfriend and is being persecuted by the criminal justice system. And I think that this is inappropriate. I don't think he should have been charged in the first place, but welcome to New York.
Welcome to New York, where we're about 2,000 cops down, where the cops have not been empowered to maybe take preemptive action. No more stop and frisk. So this guy gets on a train and he creates havoc. So in a fight for survival, thankfully, Jordan Williams wins, and now he's going to ultimately pay the price. Here, I hope not. I hope he's exonerated. Jason Goldman is his attorney. Listen.
I still ride the subway. I'm sure many of you do too. And we've seen what's happened. And as I said to the judge, you have two choices right now. You can sit there and get assaulted, and your friends or family or loved ones can get assaulted and seriously injured, or you can fight back and get arrested and maybe get charged, maybe go to Rikers, maybe get released. So, what are you supposed to do? Which option are you supposed to take?
Okay, that lawyer sounds like he's representing Daniel Penny, right? You could change that black guy out and put Daniel Penny up there, right? Because it's the same argument, except Daniel Penny didn't use a knife. He just held the guy down, and the assumption was that he died of a chokehold. But even a medical examiner wasn't really sure Jordan Neely died of a chokehold. But in this particular case, there's no question. He was stabbed to death, right? And this guy said, yeah, I stabbed him, right? And look at him leaking and blah, 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 that type of thing. This guy was okay that he had killed him. So I do agree with Fox News. If this was self-defense, you can prove that this guy attacked Mr. Williams and his girlfriend. Okay, you have a self-defense claim. But what about the stabbing? Should this guy have lost his life because he's yelling at this guy and his girlfriend? girlfriend? No, right? No, that would be the same argument that BLM made. Just because somebody yelling and harassing people on the street doesn't mean they should die. Same thing here. If this guy doesn't have a knife, the other guy's probably going to be alive, but he did have a knife. So what happens? Do you think race plays an issue on who goes to trial and who doesn't go to trial? Because again, both of these DAs, or one's Manhattan DA, one's a Brooklyn DA, both are city DAs. They both charged both the black guy and the white guy. So you have some consistency here. But what happens with this guy, Mr. Williams, when he goes to the grand jury? Well, the grand jury said, we know he was carrying a knife. We're not going to charge him. We're going to exonerate him at the grand jury. We're not even going to let you get to a trial because this seems clearly self-defense. Even though he had a knife, we're going to call it self-defense.
They're now dropped against Jordan Williams. That's the man who had been charged with fatally stabbing a fellow passenger on a J train earlier this month.
Yeah, Brooklyn grand jury declined to indict, determining he acted in self-defense. Fox 5's Briella Tomasetti joins us now with the very latest. Good morning, Briella.
Yeah, Dan and Tashani, bottom line, Jordan Williams has said this is a decision he will regret every single day for the rest of his life. Jason Goldman, who represents Williams, said it's never a joyous occasion when a life is lost, but Jordan and his loved ones are grateful and relieved that the grand jury saw this for exactly what it was.
Honestly, I was afraid.
1 week after Jordan Williams and his lawyer Jason Goldman spoke with us exclusively on Good Day New York, a grand jury has dropped all charges against him. Williams, just 20 years old, was accused of fatally stabbing a homeless man on a J train earlier this month and subsequently charged with manslaughter. Williams testified before the grand jury for about 45 minutes, saying that he acted in self-defense after the victim, Victor Udrago, punched his girlfriend in the face. Video filmed by another passenger and shown to the grand jury reportedly corroborated that.
All I wanted to do was just get me and my girlfriend off the train safely.
The Brooklyn DA's office released this statement, reading in part that its investigation, quote, included review of multiple videos and interviews with all available witnesses, and that evidence was fairly presented to a grand jury.
Okay, so now the difference in these two cases, I think, is pretty simple. In one case, you had the homeless person execute the threat of physical force. Now, it wasn't deadly physical force. Punching somebody is not deadly physical force, just physical force. And he punched this guy's girlfriend. Now, this guy, Jordan Williams, then took out a knife and stabbed him to death. So he reacted to physical force with deadly physical force, which generally is not allowed. But in this case, you can say it's clearly self-defense. He's defending his girlfriend from some maniac on a train who's harassing other people. And you saw the level of harassment. Where I think in Jordan Neely's case, Jordan Neely is the person with Daniel Penny. In Jordan Neely's case, Jordan Neely came and was threatening imminent physical force, imminent deadly physical force. I'm going to kill people. I don't mind doing a life sentence. I'm not going to take no for an answer. And even what some of the witnesses said, he started lunging at them. Well, for self-defense, you don't have to wait to be stabbed, to be punched, to be hit, to employ self-defense. The imminent threat of force, you can use force to repel that. And that's what happened in the Daniel Penny case. He used physical force to repel this guy's deadly physical force of threatening to kill people and held him. Now, in both cases, the person died. But in the case with the black guy, guess what? We're going to let him go, even though he used deadly physical force and stabbed the guy to death. Where in Daniel Penny's case, we're going to say, well, we're going to make him go to trial. And technically, it's really because he's white. Because in both situations, all the witnesses on the train said the same thing, right? These guys are heroes. These guys were defending people. Just in one case, the guy happens to be white. In the other case, the guy happens to be black. But listen to what happens when other people are confronted with this anomaly. The fact that these situations happen very close to each other, but they seem to be being treated very differently, right? Nobody's marching in the street for the guy who Jordan Williams stabbed. No one's marching. BLM probably doesn't even know who that guy is. Don't even care about his name. But against Daniel Penny, they do.
I said, what about the Jordan Williams case here in New York? Same situation, African-American, gets on a subway, ends up killing a guy, grand jury tosses it out at the exact same time as the Penny case.
But that's different. That's different because he used the same weapon that the alleged victim had.
I hate stopping people in mid-sentence, but she's lying about the facts of the case. In the Jordan Williams case, Jordan Williams was the person who brought a knife to the scene.
This actually hasn't come out yet, but a few weeks ago before this incident, there was a woman who actually put a knife right to my eyes. So she literally had it inches from me. Yes. So that honestly is what scared me into starting to carry. And
I was wondering why you were carrying a knife.
Yes.
And it was because of that particular
And Jordan Williams was charged with weapons violations, but obviously the grand jury didn't charge, so it's legal for him. But that knife, he was charged with carrying an illegal weapons charges because he had the knife. Victim had no knife. The only person that had a knife was Jordan Williams. And I understand why she has to lie, because she can't say that it's obvious that it's the same case, right? So she has to lie to try to win this point. Now, I don't know why she's lying. I don't know why she pretends to know the facts of the case, but the only knife in the Jordan Williams case was Jordan Williams's knife, the one used to kill the victim in that particular case. So just so we're all clear, she is lying on CNN, and I'm going to fact check her, but I think it's important for you to understand she's lying about the facts of the case.
So he was using his own weapon. He was met with deadly physical force. Jordan Neely, all he had in his pocket was a muffin. All right.
Now, just to be clear, what she's saying is obviously not true. The victim in the Jordan Williams case didn't have a knife. He didn't. The person who bought the knife was Jordan Williams. And I still agree with the verdict that he shouldn't have been charged, and that, hey, that's self-defense. Somebody's beating up your girlfriend, you got to do what you got to do to stop that, right? Self-defense, no doubt about it. But you can't lie to the people. Why is she lying to the public? And CNN's not going to fact check her. Why? Because CNN is okay with her lying about the facts of the case. So at the end of the day, I want you to tell me where I'm wrong in this particular case. I think both these men should have been acquitted. I think both these men didn't do anything wrong. I believe that self-defense is a thing, and I believe if you believe Jordan Williams is guilty of self-defense after he pulled a knife and stabbed somebody for hitting his girlfriend, then I think you should also believe Daniel Penny is not guilty because he employed self-defense to save other black people. But you won't hear BLM marching for Jordan Williams' victim. You won't hear them saying that Jordan Williams' victim was unhoused. You won't hear them saying that Jordan Williams' victim was unarmed. You won't hear them saying any of that. You won't hear them saying, oh, people harass people on the train all the time, right? Why? Because he happens to be black. And you'll get the reverse for Jordan Neely, right? Jordan Neely was an angel. Jordan Neely, he was a Michael Jackson impersonator, but he was threatening people on a train and saying he was going to kill them. And 3 people stopped him. And the only one that was charged was the white guy. When is the prosecution and our society, when are we going to just understand the facts should matter more than these people's skin tone? That's what I'll leave you with today. Don't forget, like, subscribe, do all the great YouTube stuff. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I'm out. Peace.
Thanks, Nate. I appreciate it, man. So I just wanted to pull that up, and I wanted to just highlight the fact that we're not going to hear anybody from BLM denounce or admit, say, hey, you know what, this jury got this right and this jury got it wrong. They're not going to say that. They're going to just totally ignore the whole Jordan Williams story altogether. You'll never hear Black Lives Matter, social justice warriors, or anything of those nature actually address this, because they can't use equal weights and measures. Because if they did, they would have to say that Daniel Penny was in the right, just like Jordan Williams was in the right. Or they have to say that Daniel Penny was wrong, and so were they wrong also about Jordan Williams. And they won't do that because they're not fair dealers. Black Lives Matters is not going to even remotely try to be an equal opportunity offender. They're not going to do that. They're going to only go after Daniel Penny and totally ignore Jordan Williams. That's why I say Black Lives Matters is totally inept. They're totally useless. They're good for nothing else but to stir up hatred among people groups that's not there, to fan the flames or the embers of racism around the world or around the country. That's all they're good for. DearWokeC@gmail.com. If you disagree, let me know what you think. I'm always open to hearing your point, but I do ask again, as I've put this out before, if you email me about Black Lives Matter, social justice, critical race theory, or DEI, I do ask that you email me, but you also give me 3 dates and times that work for you to have an open conversation about this topic. So you're welcome to email me and say, Jason, you're wrong about BLM. It's the greatest thing ever in the history of ever. That's fine. Just make sure you give me 3 dates and 3 times that you're able to sit and have a conversation, because I would like to hear your thoughts portrayed out for the whole audience, because I'm not new to this. I've had this discussion before. I've had it with leaders of BLM and supporters of critical race theory, social justice warriors, and DEI advocates. I'm not making this up, so I'm glad and willing. So feel free, dearwokec@gmail.com. Make sure you email management. Let us know that you don't like what I said. That's perfectly fine. Just please make sure 3 dates and 3 times. And I appreciate it. And I appreciate every last one of y'all for watching the videos, for tapping in with me and hanging out with me this evening. I do have one more I think you might enjoy, especially if you've been following the YSL trial. But before we get onto that, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much to everybody who's rocked with me for this whole year. I've said it before, this has been my best year on this YouTube channel and these YouTube streets ever. So if you jumped on, if you've been with me since the beginning of 2024, you are a part of that ever. If you were rock with me in 23 or 22, or when I started in 2021, you're a part of that ever. This has been the best year ever. And I want to say thank you to everybody, to the moderators, to the commenters, to those people that send me the terrible comments, all that kind of good stuff, to the people that watch my videos because they love me or watch my videos because they hate me. I don't care. I'm just glad that you watch it, and I'm glad that you took the time to hit that like button to be part of the best live chat on the internet. Thank you all, every last one of you. I really appreciate it. I really, really mean that. I want to say thank you again. Now, a lot of us have been talking about this YSL, right? And one of the main players of the YSL trial, I don't want to say players, I'm saying that's not a good term. It's not a player of the YSL trial. One of the scenes in this YSL drama is one Charlie. Okay. Everybody knows about the courtroom, right? Everybody knows about the green store, right? Everybody knows about, let's just be honest, everybody knows about Club Crucial. But there's another place, there's another scene in this drama that was mentioned a lot. It was, dare I say, the main scene in this drama outside of the courtroom, but we don't mention it. I mean, we don't see it a lot. We don't see it a lot. And that is Rice Street. So there's actually a class action lawsuit filed against Fulton County Sheriff. And I'm going to bring this in because I don't know if y'all saw this. Maybe you did. Maybe you didn't. But there's a class action lawsuit filed against Fulton County Jail and against Sheriff Labatt, the chief jailer, and not really Fonnie and not really the Fulton County Commission. But we know that this is in tacitly going to impact them because it's going to make a big deal. So I want to bring this in. Back this. I don't know how I could start moving forward. I'm going to bring this in because I thought this would be really interesting for y'all. And I see some people already talking about, well, didn't the Department of Justice do something about this? He's going to talk about that. And I didn't realize what actually happened with that Department of Justice case. So let's bring this in. I thought it would be interesting to talk about. So let's do it.
Convicted. Most of them have not been convicted of a crime. They're waiting for their day in trial. Convicted. Most of them have not been convicted of a crime. They're waiting for their day in trial. And they come out of that jail with horrific scars on your body, and some of them get killed before they get their day in trial. Back to Mr. Jackson, Stillwell Jackson. Imagine had he got murdered. Imagine if he was murdered in that trial, in that jail, before his trial ended, right? He could have been murdered because of these unconstitutional conditions of non-working locks and these shanks and knives being made by inmates. He could have been murdered. We would have never known he would have got acquitted, from the jury. So it's very important for the citizens of Fulton County to understand that these are innocent until proven guilty pre-trial detainees who are coming out of that jail with horrible scars, horrible medical conditions, and some don't make it out at all.
Have you talked to Mr. Stillwell, given his YSL verdict? He'll be released at some point here.
I met with him last week.
I don't know if anxious is the right word, but given the conditions you're describing in the jail, what is his thought on eventually getting out of the jail?
Okay, so just in case you didn't know, Shannon Stillwell is still in jail. I'm believing probably the same thing is for Mr. Diamante Kendrick as well. So just so you know, like they're still in jail. So he's going to speak on Shannon, and Shannon and another young man, Blaylock, are kind of the faces of the class action lawsuit. But let's let him explain it out.
I mean, clearly, like anyone else, he can't wait to be released from jail. But right now, he is very relieved that the jury acquitted him of all charges after being in this jail for 3 years and almost losing his life twice. We believe he will be out soon. But we're just thankful that he was able to be alive to see his non-guilty verdict.
And with this injunction of relief, do you take a position on, we've seen the back and forth between the county and sheriff, new jail, rehab this jail. What do you see on behalf of your plaintiffs as the ultimate answer?
This case has been filed, as you can see, against the Fulton County Jail, against Sheriff Labatt and the chief jailer. For the reasons that were mentioned, it's difficult to hold the Fulton County commissioners liable for what happens at the jail, even though they fund the jail. Sheriff Labatt ultimately has responsibility over the jail, so we believe that the proper place for blame here is at the sheriff's office, sheriff's department.
You also named a few corrections officers in the lawsuit as well. How grassroots do you see this problem as? Was that kind of part of the reason why you decided to include employees, corrections officers?
Well, let me be clear. The employees were in the Davion Blake case, not in the class action. All right, the class action is just against Sheriff Labatt and the chief jailer. For every case where you have detention officers who ignore conditions in the jail and they know that their inmates or detainees are put in a dangerous condition and they don't do anything about it, it's called deliberate indifference. And in Davion Blake's case, those officers were aware that he was in a dangerous place. He had been stabbed several times before he was killed.
Wow.
And they did nothing to protect him. And that's unconstitutional. So that's why we were able to list them separately in the Davion Blake case.
So I just want to, if you don't mind, just to clarify. So there's a class action lawsuit that's for injunctive relief. That's against Fulton County Jail
And the chief jailer.
And
Chief jailer.
The chief jailer and against Sheriff Patrick Labatt.
Okay.
Right.
And then there's the separate lawsuit for Davion Blake.
Right.
Right. And then you said the lead plaintiff is Shannon Jackson. And
Not for that one. The Shannon Jackson and Kenyon Hambrick are the lead class action plaintiffs.
Okay.
Davion Blake is that's a separate case just for his estate. Yeah. Sure. Sure.
Have you been able to talk to Sheriff Labatt before you filed this class action, or are you just going to let the courts handle it and go through the legal process?
We believe that enough talking has happened, frankly. I mean, I have been suing the Fulton County Jail for many, many years, as you guys have followed, my career and all these cases that we've been filing for many years. The time for talking is over. And the time for just settling cases is also over. It's important to note that, these families should be paid for their loved ones being maimed and killed, no doubt about it. But the class action lawsuit, we need change in Fulton County. We need the jail to change. The state of Georgia has investigated the jail. Nothing happened. Fulton County commissioners have investigated the jail. Nothing's happened. U.S. Department of Justice has investigated the jail, issued their report. Now we want a federal judge to declare that the Fulton County Jail fixes problems.
Okay, so that answers your question about the DOJ. It seems as if, just not knowing a lot about it, but just following along with what he said, it seems like they were told by the DOJ and they're not really making changes based upon what the DOJ said. So now he's looking for a judge to actually push them and force them, and he's going to tease it out a little bit more about having some checks and balances and some benchmarks. But basically, the federal judge to declare and force the Fulton County sheriff and the chief jailer to rectify these problems, which is kind of wild that they have to do all that to get some relief there. But we'll see.
I guess what's the tangible part of that? If a judge forces that, is it forcing the county to spend money to have more staffing and to fix these issues that, the things that get turned into shanks and the conditions there, or just what's the tangible part that our viewers can understand?
The tangible part is make all the necessary changes, such as staffing, such as the facility, so the inmates are not making shanks and knives from jail materials, sanitation procedures to make sure that these kind of horrible injuries don't occur, and then to make sure that the judge has oversight of the jail to report back to the court. So the court is satisfied that these changes have been made. And then the court can issue a ruling that is satisfied that the changes have been made. They have someone to answer to other than the Fulton County Commission, who does nothing. That's the point.
Devil's advocate on that point, because you and Sheriff Bond agree on quite a bit of this, actually. And so, he's been crying to the clouds for a while about staffing, about not having the funding to do some of the things that he needs to do to fix up the jail. Could it come to a point where the Fulton County Commission may need to be involved? And I know we run into that question with soccer.
Right. And that's a thorny legal issue for us as lawyers. If we sue the Fulton County commissioners, we get thrown out of court, right? They're not the sheriff. You can't blame them for the death of Davion Blake. What did they do to kill Davion Blake, right? So we have a hard time suing the commission, to your point. So we have to sue the sheriff because he does have responsibility and his officers do. But the court, to your point, can order the commissioners to make sure that the sheriff has what he needs to make the problems go away and to fix the problem. So we have the case against the sheriff, but I agree with you that the sheriff agrees with us about these problems. He needs the funding, but for legal reasons, we hope that the federal judge understands the legal issues that you brought up and that he's able to order the commissioners to do what they have to do to make sure that the sheriff has what he needs to fix the jail.
What have you heard from the families?
I'm sorry?
What have you heard from the families?
What have I heard? The families continue to be outraged. I mean, we get calls almost every day from someone in the Fulton County Jail who's outraged at what has happened. And they continue to just feel hopeless. I mean, even when you see these settlements that have happened, like the Sean Thompson settlement, you hear about other settlements, but the problems continue, right? It is time for the Fulton County to stop paying people off and to fix the jail. I mean, we have to, at some point in time, someone has to make sure, for all of our sake, this is all of our jail. All of us who live in and travel through Fulton County can end up in that jail for any possible reason. And what a horrible situation.
Don't say that.
You can't make it out if you come out, maimed or diseased somehow due to conditions. So everyone is exasperated with the issues in the jail because nothing happens. You come case after case, death after death. We're back here again, and nothing's changed. We're hoping that this class action lawsuit, finally a judge will have oversight and force these changes at the jail.
So once the judge establishes the class, who can join that class? Does it have to be people that have been to the jail and have come out alive? Can it be people that have unfortunately died?
You want to speak to that?
It's
Yeah.
people who have suffered what we call an acute injury, an injury that happened at the jail, not something that was existing for a provable injury that happened as they were detained in Fulton County Jail.
So they have to be alive.
I mean, their families, if they died in the jail,
That'd be an
and their
injury.
families can prove that, as he's saying, that it was because of the jail conditions, they will be able to join the class action lawsuit.
And of course, you guys just filed it this week.
Tuesday.
What's
Yeah.
next in the timeline?
Yeah.
Next, we're going to file a motion to certify class where there'll be two judges that get to decide whether the class is adequately defined as to its scope and the people that can join. And then after that happens, we'll be handling damages issues and the real significant liability issues separately.
You
For
don't know
each
you don't know how long that might take.
That might take a long time.
Yeah, it could take some time, but we would imagine only a few months for the judge to make a decision to certify the class or not. And then we'll put a notice to the public that the class has been certified. And if you have actionable damages, you are able to join this class action
This
lawsuit.
is Northern District.
Atlanta, Northern District of Georgia. But spell your name for them in case they want to.
It's Patrick, Patrick, last name Lead, Leed.
Can you spell the name of Cambric for me, first and last, please?
Nken Kengen in Kenja and Hambrick, like it sounds, Hambrick.
Oh.
It's also on the lawsuit, which we'll email to you, but it's in Kenja and Hambrick. Of course, Shannon Jackson, also known as Shannon Stillwell, you know his name.
Is it Jackson or Stillwell?
It's Jackson. He's been referred to in the YSL trial as Stillwell, but his legal name is Shannon Jackson.
Yeah.
According to him, when I met with him. So I think he would know. I said, man, what is your name?
Right. Let's start with that.
I've heard it so many ways, but he told me Shannon Jackson. Yeah. And he signed my document, Shannon Jackson. So I'm going to take his word for it.
And he's the lead plaintiff in the class action lawsuit?
There are two. He and Kenton Hambrick.
Are the lead plaintiffs in the class action lawsuit?
Correct.
But the separate one is Davion Blake.
The estate of Davion Blake for the life of Davion Blake. He was killed. So yeah.
Wow.
His family is bringing that one. Yeah.
One last question. What's your hope for clients like Mr. Jackson that's still in custody, or everyday new detainees are coming in? It seems like the county and sheriff are obviously at a stalemate here, but the process you're describing is months until it's classified as a class action lawsuit. Then we go through the whole legal process of just that suit. You could be talking about years here.
Absolutely.
What is your hope that the county and sheriff can do during that year-long process before you can get that relief?
Well, I mean, look, we all know the issues. I mean, we've talked about them for years. I mean, we hope that just by filing this lawsuit, that the Fulton County commissioners will do more to help repair the jail before the judge has to order them to do so. We hope they just take it upon themselves in the pending time that you're talking about. It could take years. So I hope that the Fulton County commissioners will make changes before the judge orders them to do so. Yeah, but also, the families must be compensated, obviously, for those who have been injured. But I just want to stress enough that, it's not just about compensation, because it's not fixing the problem. We'll be here 10 years from now talking about another 100 deaths in the jail. But we really, really want systemic change. We want the judge, again, to order and oversee the changes at the jail to make sure that they happen.
Is that adequate for any new detainees coming in?
Absolutely, yeah. And then not to mention that, this is for people who are there now, but I mean, it has to be fixed for the future. I mean, we have to fix this jail at some point in time. It can't just go on as business as usual with everyone, federal, state, local. We all know the problem, but no one doing anything about it. Hopefully the judge will.
More just a random question about it. The judge
All right, taking you out to that press conference live as a class action lawsuit being announced against Fulton County jail leaders. I just want to recap briefly because we did hop in the middle of that conversation, bringing you as much of that live press conference as we could. This class action lawsuit has two lead plaintiffs on it, and one of those names has come up time and time again in the news. Shannon Jackson, or as he is better known as Shannon Stillwell, or SB, a co-defendant and center of the YSL trial in its final moments that we saw play out. Now part of this class action lawsuit, Shannon Jackson, along with Kenjic Hembick, are the two names that were discussed here. They were incarcerated persons, inmates at the Fulton County Jail that personally said they experienced conditions and treatments that they feel violated their rights. Shannon Stillwell, as you heard from lawyers that we took you out to just moments ago, was stabbed 3 times in the jail, according to those attorneys. And the big message that they were driving home over and over again during this press conference that we just took you to was that this class action lawsuit comes as a call for something to be done at a judicial level for the inmates that are held at the jail that are innocent until they have their day in court and are proven guilty.
Look at those scenes.
Trial detainees. And so
Wow.
The jail, of course, over the past several months and years, facing intense scrutiny over crumbling conditions, inmate safety, the Department of Justice even going as far as to launch a federal investigation into the jail. And Patrick Labat himself, who is named in this document, has previously stated that there is some much needed attention to this facility. So we are unpacking the details of this class action lawsuit, and we'll have more information for you on AtlantaNewsFirst.com. Our Atlanta News First political reporter Doug Reardon is also digging into this, and he will have more for you on Atlanta News First in our evening hours. Thank you so much for joining us here on Atlanta News First Plus. We are going to continue to bring you the latest coverage on all things happening here in our community and beyond. So stick around as we bring you back to Local News Live.
All right. So I just thought that was going to be something interesting. So thank y'all so much. I know a lot of you all, we've been rocking with the YSL, keeping up with what's been going on. We know there's a few more defendants that are going to coming up in the future, but Rice Street's name has come up a lot in the Fulton County Jail and all the shenanigans, all the hijinks. I dare say it was a player in the trial. Like, it literally was an issue because people like Woody, because other folk said, hey, I would rather plead out for something I didn't do than go to Rice Street. That's terrible. So I thought that would be good. I thought that you all would enjoy watching that and getting a little update, if you will, on what's been going on Rice Street. I see a couple of good questions. I don't know if I'm pretty sure there's some kind of jailhouse or prison ministry. I don't know for a fact, but I wouldn't think that there wasn't, because I know a chaplain for Fulton County. So I'm assuming that they do things at the jail as well as with the different precincts. So I'm gonna assume they do, but I'll look into it though to give you a better answer in the future for sure. I do want to say thank y'all again. This has been a good night, man. We had a great time talking to Antonio, watching that press conference from Dalton, listening to Tiffany talk crazy again. We're gonna see where it goes. Of course, checking out the Daniel Penny, Jordan Williams story, and now the story coming out of Fulton County. I really appreciate all of y'all for checking it out with me. I'm glad that y'all have tapped in. I do actually have, I forgot, I do have another case to go over, which is the Johnny Somali case out of South Korea. That story is bananas. And it is the wildest story. If you're not familiar with it, I'll explain it in a moment. But I do want to say thank you. Y'all, I got 250 people who have joined Dear Woke Christian as members of the channel. And I want to say thank you to each and every one of y'all. But I don't think y'all have joined the Discord. So I need y'all to go check out the Discord. How do I do that, Jason? Cool. Go to the community post, and the instructions are in the community post for members only Discord. I'd love for you to join us over there. Chop it up with us. Let's have some good conversations, all that kind of good jazz. So go to the community post after I get done. I want to say thank you to everybody who's been watching the videos as well. You've really helped grow this channel, because if you watch the videos all the way to the end, whether you like me or not, whether you think my lights are crazy in the back or whatnot, whatever, if you watch the videos, it lets YouTube know that, hey, Jason's doing stuff over here that people are enjoying. And then when you hit that like button, when you're commenting in the chat, all that kind of stuff like that, even hitting a notification when you know a video is coming up, when you hit notification, that tells YouTube like something's going on over there. Jason over there in Dear Woke Christian talking loud in his office studio. He's doing something that these people enjoy. So that lets them know. And then they're like, hey, well, if he's got Gail's attention, if he's got Bitter Lily's attention, well, maybe we should send it out to other people, see if he gets their attention as well. So I want to say thank you all for watching the content, because you all really help grow the channel. You really help mushroom what's going on here at DWC, and it means a lot. So I want to say thank you so much for that. And it doesn't cost you anything. So because it shows me that, hey, it doesn't cost me anything to hit that like button. Hey, it doesn't cost me anything to subscribe. It doesn't cost me anything to hit that notification bell. All that stuff, I'm glad that you do it, because it helps me out a lot. It helps the channel grow, helps YouTube kind of, do what YouTube does in the background. Sometimes I don't even know what they be doing sometimes, but I appreciate it. And I really want to say thank you again about that. Now, you may or may not know about this gentleman. He's an IRL streamer, which is IRL streamers are just people that do live streaming all the time in real life. That's what IRL stands for. A lot of the time they do stupid pranks. They're doing dances. They're doing silly stuff like that. And that's, lots of the time is pretty tame. But then there's another niche of that. It's called, basically what's called nuisance streamers, where they're bothering people. They're doing stuff to bother folk, whether that be walking around Walmart and doing crazy stuff just for clout, just for clicks and eyeballs, or just doing stuff to bother and annoy other people. Well, sadly, there's a gentleman that was here in America that went to Asia. He went to Japan. He went to the Middle East. I think he went to Israel at one point, but he went to Korea, South Korea, and has been a nuisance streamer in South Korea. Well, South Korea is a different place. It is different from anywhere in America, because their laws are different, their culture is different, their understanding of their appreciation for nuisance streamers is way different. Because some of the stuff that we do in America would not pass the muster in South Korea. So shout out to the South Korean community. Now, I find it really interesting because it's one, it's a compare and contrast. We can see like, hey, People do that all the time. Like I do that all the time. Well, hopefully y'all don't do some of the stuff that Johnny Somali was doing. He was just doing a lot of just complete and utter terrible stuff to disrespect the South Korean culture. And because they're not necessarily known for being the most aggressive people, because they have closed caption television all over South Korea. All right. And you can't do something like, you don't have the right to protect yourself in South Korea. Right. That's our look. A lot of Americans already said, no, I'm good. Well, I can't go over there. Yeah. So you don't have the right to like defend yourself. So me and somebody got into a fight, both of us are going to jail. That's craziness. But let me bring back to Johnny. So I literally just talked about that. Literally just finished talking about that maybe about 20 minutes ago. We went over the whole story. And about that story about Jordan Williams, the whole gambit. So Greg, it was a good conversation, but we'll yeah, it was a good conversation. We just looked at it literally. But back to Johnny Somali. So he has been in South Korea just wilding out, just being very demonstrative, very, very racially antagonistic, antagonizing people with North Korean propaganda and yelling out craziness. It's been a whole complete utter mess. I mean, it's not a good look for anybody. However, as it would be, Johnny Somali has gone to jail. So he got arrested in South Korea, but this is the part that I really think is interesting. So here in America, we got bond, right? If I go to jail for a moderate crime, I could bond out. Maybe they would give me a $50,000 bond or $100,000 bond or whatever like that. Well, in South Korea, they don't do that. What they do, this is so gangster. I love gangster stuff. So they said, look, we're not going to put you in jail. We're just going to give you bond. But guess what? We're not going to give you a work visa. Well, why does he need a work visa, Jason? He's a foreign citizen. Oh, they removed his right to leave the country. He can't leave South Korea. So he is stuck in South Korea with no means or way to make money. That's got to be the absolute, and I don't know if he can live stream and get, donations or whatever like that, but that's got to be the most painful non-prison sentence you can get. Now, I also think it's kind of funny because he was supposed to, his first trial. Oh, by the way, the trials are spaced out. So you have like a first hearing and you can have like 2 or 3, maybe even a month later, have a second hearing. And after that, maybe 2-3 weeks, and then a third hearing and so forth. So it's not straightforward like ours, Once they start, they're going to go on until the end, right? Now, I bring that up because he was supposed to have a hearing on the 20th, which is next weekend. He's supposed to have his first hearing. Well, that would have been great because then he could have, kind of got this ball moving and so on and so forth. But for whatever reason, the judge has decided they're going to move his hearing back to March 2025. So instead of it being this weekend, I'm sorry, next weekend, it's going to be in March, somewhere around St. Patrick's Day. Now, remember a moment ago, I just said Johnny Somali is in jail and he is not in jail. He just cannot leave the country. He's on a travel ban. You cannot go in, you cannot come out of South Korea without some kind of facial recognition, without some kind of digital footprint. The dude can't go anywhere. He can't sneak into North Korea. They got that thing called that demilitarized zone. That would be a problem. He can't just hop on a cabbage boat and surf out of here. No, he's stuck in South Korea. And he is going to become a drain on any friends or any kind of good deeds or well wishes that come from his friendships and his community. And he's going to end up by March. It's going to be crazy. Now, I bring all that up because I wanted to play just Legal Mindset. Actually, I interviewed Legal Mindset a couple of weeks ago. Great guy. He's a U.S. citizen that lives in a former U.S. citizen that lives in South Korea. And fun fact, he's a lawyer. So he's really been taking his bull by the horns and giving us all of the details, letting us know all the inside scoop on what's going on. I just thought it was really interesting, especially when you want to compare and contrast U.S. culture and U.S. Criminal justice against South Korean criminal justice. Again, like they don't have something like you can defend yourself. You don't have the right to defend yourself, which is crazy. That just sounds so wild to us. Like, wait, what do you mean you can't defend yourself? Yeah, you can. You can't do it in South Korea. And I thought that was wild. So as I'm stalling, because
all right, let's get started, shall we?
Sorry. I'm gonna actually drop this. Did I drop down? I dropped out. What do you know about that? They are teaching him a major lesson. Absolutely. He's going to get learned today. Yeah, he is not. This is the wildest thing because he went over there to, test their system and do all that kind of jazz. Lo and behold, he's getting a lesson upon lessons. So I am not going to take, I realize that it's actually a longer video as I look up. Like, wait, this is a long video. But Legal Mindset, if you're interested in it, Legal Mindset, shout out to him, Andrew Esquire, is keeping everybody abreast of this story. And I think he's probably the most trusted as it relates to this. One, because of his respect of the law, and two, his respect for the South Korean people and their culture. So he's really going above and beyond to be faithful to it, which I think is admirable. Instead of just kind of spewing whatever you learn or whatever you think you can get away with, he's really trying to give you the right information so everybody knows what's going on, which I think is admirable and definitely worth looking into. So I dropped the link down there for you. Check them out. I think you'll find it interesting, especially if you need to get your international law scratched. I think this is a good one to check out. I want to say again, as we get ready around these bases and the such like that, thank you to everybody who's supported the channel. This last 12 months has been amazing, and it's all because of you all. So I want to say thank you again for checking out everything I'm doing, whether it be the merchandise store or Dear World Christian, whatever, checking me out on the different socials like Instagram and X, formerly known Twitter, all that kind of good jazz. Dropping me your email so we can send you out the newsletter that we're going to be starting in January, all that kind of stuff. I thank you. Thank you for the moderators. Thank you for the commenters. Thank you to the guests that have been on the channel. For the last 12 months, we've had some fantastic guests. I'm looking forward to, Lord willing, to have some more great guests in 2025. If you are interested, I am doing a video series, and there's a small playlist on my channel called Dear 2024. And just kind of highlighting some of the things I've learned this year. Some things about live streaming and about being a dad and all that kind of stuff. Just new things I've learned. I'm just doing short videos about it, just to kind of give you a little heads up on it. And maybe instead of doing that, that big video at the end of the year, 25 things I've learned. And instead of that, I just figured just a short video every day, maybe just give you a little insight on stuff I've learned. I thought it'd be fun. So you can check it out. The playlist is called Dear 2024. I couldn't come up with a better name. I was trying to be better than that. I just couldn't come up with it. But what I can do is say this. I appreciate y'all. You all have been a blessing to me as well as to the community. I thank all of you all, whether you like the videos or you like my commentary. If you don't like it, you're watching it, you're engaging with it. I appreciate it. And it doesn't go unnoticed. So I really do want to say thank you again. Today is Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday. I am going to be working on my rest of my videos for the end of the year. So I don't think we have a video planned tomorrow. A live stream planned tomorrow, but we do have one planned on Saturday. So I will keep you posted on that. Thumbnail will be going up shortly. If you are a new member of the channel, thank you for being a member. Thank you for your support of this channel. It does not go unnoticed. Please go to the community tab. Check out how to join the Discord. Everybody, thank you so much. I really do mean it a lot. I don't want it to go unnoticed and understated that you all make this the best live chat on the internet. So I want to say thank you for that. I see somebody talking about Tiffany Henry. I don't think that I'm thinking that lawsuit. I've been thinking a little bit more about it. I've been noodling a little bit more about it. I got a feeling it's a complaint. I don't think it's a law. I don't know how you can sue somebody because you don't like the way they did something that they did legally. I don't know. I might be wrong, but I'm starting to think that. Let me say it like this. If we pop up on Saturday and find out that she really didn't file a lawsuit, but filed a complaint, or is like just begging the court to step in and give her a chance to get on the ballot, and it's not really truly a lawsuit, I won't be surprised. Let me say it like that. I will not be shocked. It just doesn't sound right. Something about it doesn't sound right. I could be pesky. I might be just being cynical, but I got this feeling. I'm gonna go back and pay attention. And watch this. If I find out tomorrow that there's a true lawsuit, and I pull it up, then I'll just do a video on it and we'll talk about it. Even though I just said we're not gonna do a video tomorrow. If I find it, I'm gonna do it. But I got this feeling it's not. I got a feeling it's a complaint. And it's really more like they're petitioning the court. This is what I'm thinking. That they're petitioning the court for an address. They want the court to step in, but it's not really a lawsuit. They're just saying it's a lawsuit, but I don't think it is. That's me. Because it's hard for me to take anything Tiffany Henry says. Even though she had lawyers there, it's hard for me to take them seriously. So, yeah, because I promise you, if the shoes were on the other foot, if the stilettos were on the other feet, and Tiffany Henry could have done this to keep Napoleon Harris off of the ballot, tell me she wouldn't have done this. Tell me she wouldn't have done it. Absolutely. I think she would have did it. So I'm not, look, I just think they finessed her. Do I think it's the best thing? The jury's out on that. But I think it's finessing. Oh man. Thank you. Got me talking. I've decided if I can get Jason House, who is the gentleman running for mayor against Tiffany Henry, if I can get Jason House on the channel, I'm going to buy one of his sweatshirts to support his campaign. He has a pretty nice hoodie. I got to say, that hoodie is looking kind of nice. It says Clean House 2025. And so on the community post, I dropped the link on it as well if you want to check it out. See what it's like. But I'm trying to get Jason House or even somebody on his team, one of the trustees or Edward Steve. I would love to interview them. So if you have outlet, if you live in Dalton or you have cousins, third cousins, dog walkers, veterinarian that is in Dalton, hook your boy up. I would love to talk to him. And I would love to hear their story or any of the others. I would love to hear them. And Dalton needs Jesus. Look, we might need to go straight to the Lord. We need the Lord in Dalton. But okay, that was the end of it. I ain't gonna keep talking to y'all. So thank y'all so much again. Let's do this again real soon. If I find that case, though, don't be surprised I pop back up. But otherwise, I'll see you all on Saturday, everybody. Thanks again. Talk to you real soon. Grace and peace.
Hit that like for deal with Christian. Yo, for deal with Christian. Smash that bell for DWC. Yo, smash it. Just smash it. Hit that like for deal with Christian. For deal with Christian. Smash that bell for DWC. Yo, smash it. Just smash it. Hit that like for deal with Christian.